a game. Is this round 2 of the RTT, guys? I think it is. Or is this round 3?
This is a round 2, game 7, according to the challenge bracket. So this is Colin versus Chuck.
Outrageous. So this is round 7 of the RTT Charity Hammer Out Cancer RTT. Got the wonderful Pablo Martinez here. I'm Adam Camilleri. Pablo, hello, my man. Well, those of you who might not know Pablo, I would be incredulous if you didn't. Pablo's of Chapter Tactics and Frontline Gaming fame. How you doing, my man? Welcome.
I'm doing good. This is my first Charity Hammer. Normally, I'm in the middle of Las Vegas Open streaming right now. However, with the LVO canceled and the Las Vegas Open around the corner, I need all of the all of the stream reps I can get.
Fair, cool. And yeah, that's really great race. We've got 2 amazing players here playing 2 what I think are absolute top freaking tier cutthroat lists. So it's going to be a really good game of interplay. And 2 players who play each other very often. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this one pans out because they're quite well versed in what each other can do, yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And this is actually, I think this is going to be a classic 9th edition matchup going forward. Sisters are quickly becoming one of the best armies in the edition right now. A lot of people are even putting them in their top 3, edging out Space Marines or edging out one of the other top 3 factions, Chaos. Not Harlequins. Harlequins are still a clear number 1, I think, consensusly. So this is White Scars versus Sisters. This is hybrid Bloody Rose Armored Lady Sisters. So this is, I think, what you're going to see moving forward. And then, of course, you're going to see all flavors of White Scars. Colin's no exception. He's bringing the heat with 4 hard-hitting White Scars lists, some cool characters, and the usual suspects in Space Marine lists.
Yeah, absolutely right. Let's quickly take them. So you quickly touched on that list. I'll quickly run people through that from top to bottom for those following along at home. So this is Colin's RTT White Scars. He's got to start with a Battalion. He's got Kor'sarro Khan with Moonfang. He's got a Lieutenant in Reiver Army with Rites of War and the Vox Espiritum. I'm a huge fan of that guy, and we'll probably break into how that guy works a little bit later. He's got a fully fledged, no holds barred, smash chappy on a bike. That is Benediction, Recitation of Focus, Benediction of Fury. All the trimmings, including what is it? Where is it? Rise Orator. The rest of those little bits and pieces. Sorry,
I don't. So he didn't take the relic, the relic with the bike, the relic bike on this chapter.
No, he didn't. Yeah, he's got Chogorian Storm, which is plus really plus 1d3 attacks on the charge of heroic intervention. So he just goes to like absolute absurd levels of punchy goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I really like the Primaris Chaplain on bike. I'll go ahead and let you continue with the list. I just wanted to point out that White Scars characters are always the ones you want to stop and look at because there's so many good relics, powers, warlord traits that they can take. They're all little army sticks.
Exactly right. You read every other line in his army is one line, and then there's a paragraph for the chaplain. It's hilarious.
Yes.
Then he's got 5 Incursors, 2 units of 5 Assault Intercessors with auto boat rifles. He then has 5 Bladeguard veterans, 2 company veterans, a Primaris Apothecary, who's of course his chief apothecary, Plume of the Plainsrunner. For those who may not know what that is, where is it? I had it right here. Yeah. Or plus 6-inch aura.
Yeah.
Of +1 to advance and charge for infantry. So that just really limbers up his next 2 units, which are 2 units of Vanguard veterans, 10 mans with jump packs, lightning claws and storm shields on all 10 of them. So no power fists, no thunder hammers, just all mince work. Then he's got 5 plasma inceptors and rounding it out with another 4 plasma inceptors. This list is vicious, man.
Yeah, with the Plume of the Plainsrunner and the Plume of the Plainsrunner and the Chaplain coming in, you can charge out of reserve consistently with all of those. And the Plasma Inceptors, they shoot really well, but they also do mortal wounds on the charge. They're White Scars. So starting turn 3, they start having 2 damage AP1 attacks, which is massive. And they get +1 attack on the charge too. So people often forget that everything, even your basic bitch Intercessor squad and your company veterans, everything starts to hit really hard turn 3. So this is a very versatile list. It can start on the board. It puts a lot of pressure on you with those 4 bully units. And late game, turn 4, turn 5, every single Space Marine model starts to become a real threat. It's nasty.
Yeah, absolutely right, man. So that is Colin's list. Jumping over to Chuck's sisters list. Starts off with quickly, Pablo. What are your first impressions of this list before we deep dive into it?
So the sisters list, it's an infantry heavy list. I love it's it's got the 3x9 sisters Repentia, which I think is going to be the standard. It has Zephyrim, which I've actually never seen in action before, so that's going to be very interesting. And it's just kind of what you'd expect from your typical infantry sisters list. It has the Retributors, the Multi-Meltas, those are standard. The 3 Repentias, those are standard. It is missing Celestine, which I thought was a little interesting because she's a really popular model, and I feel like she brings a lot to the table for sisters. However, I have seen people moving away from her, so I thought that was kind of interesting. But I love the list. It's got a lot of shooting power. It's got a lot of board control, and those sisters are going to be very, very hard to move. All of them. There's a lot of
Absolutely
them.
right. So taking it from the top, starts off with a Armored Lady Battalion. As a lot of people would suggest, the usual breakdown is a Bloody Rose Armored Lady, or Bloody Rose, as some people in Australia started to do. Starts off with Junith. That's the lady on the Pope-mobile, on the pulpit. She's fantastic. She's reliable. Reroll wants to hit, reroll wants to wound in an aura. Such good. Like budget Valdor. Not Valdor. Trajan. A missionary, 3x5 battle sisters, 1 hospitalia with beacon of faith, litanies of faith. That's a warlord. 2x6 retributors with 1 simulacrum, 2 cherubs, 4 multi-melters, and a unit of 5, which is exactly the same but without the simulacrum. Then he's got 2 immolators with 2 multi-melters apiece. Of course, the six-man transport capacity. Keep 2 units of retributors safe. Then he switches over to the Bloody Rose side of things. This is a vanguard. Starts off with a missionary. Then he's got 2 crusaders, 9 repentia, 9 repentia, 9 repentia. Phenomenal. Did not leave home without them. They're so good. Even with the points increases, didn't even touch the sides. 5 Seraphim with a pennant. Seraphim with a pennant, 5 Seraphim with 4 hand flamers, and 2 Rhinos. So I'm assuming that's going to sling and to keep safe a couple units of Repentia. But this is well rounded. This punches, this shoots. It's got quality. It's got quantity. I freaking love it.
Oh yeah, the way the sisters lists work now is actually akin to the way they worked in competitively in 6th and 5th edition. So sisters list kind of disappeared for a long time. However, back then they were very infantry heavy. They were essentially a giant fist of sisters shoved into your opponent's face right up the middle of the board. So this is a mid-board army that excels against bully armies. It's designed to take a punch, hold the middle of the board, kill the units that it needs to kill, and then survive until they win the game. This is why sisters are considered one of the armies that can beat Space Marines and go well into Space Marines. So it'll be really interesting to see what Colin can kill, what units he targets. There's a lot of redundancy here. If he can't get to the multi-meltas, those multi-meltas will absolutely shred Inceptors, characters, the Vanguard veterans if the invuln saves aren't, super hot. It's a very, very hard nut to crack.
Exactly right. So I see there's a little bit of a duality going on here. So we've got Colin's army, which is very durable, very reliable, and puts out consistent damage across the board. Whereas we have Chuck's list, which is much more MSU based, a much more spread outy, go widey kind of list, but it's got explosive power rather than this reliable kind of always plottable, always going to do X, Y, Z every turn. So I feel like there's going to be a nice duality of momentum here because should Colin overextend, he's going to get a bloody nose from the bloody rose, boom, boom, and he's going to call a bunch of repention to the face. Now, what the issue might be there is because then we'll get a momentum shift on the primary. As you can see with this mission, what was the mission? Sorry, it's vital intelligence. So we've got one objective in each player's. This is Vanguard. We call this corners deployment. So Vanguard deployment, as people would know at home, 1 objective in each person's deployment zone, and then 4 going down the spine, the top left to the top right, 4 in a line on diagonal. So I'm interested to know what the secondaries will get, and we'll kick it over to Pickles to see if he knows as of yet. But we're seeing the deployment right now. We've got Colin down in the bottom left-hand corner. We've got Chuck up in the top right. I think our man Pickles is right here to let us know what's up.
So they just rolled to see who goes first. Chuck is going first. I think he's rolling his first miracle dice now. I'm going to turn their mics on and they can tell you what their secondaries are.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
You want to go over secondaries?
Hi, everybody. I did want to say that despite the fact that Chuck and I play all the time, we have literally not played this matchup, just for those that are interested. We purposefully were having Chuck learn Sisters not against White Scars. I have taken Data Intercepts, which is the special one for the mission. Basically, if I do an action on one of these objectives and those guys live through the turn, at the start of the next turn, I get 1 point for every objective I'm holding. I have Oath of Moment, which is Space Marine cheatery, and then Engage on All Fronts. Chuck has Engage on All Fronts. When we stand, we fight. I should ask what those things are. And he also has Scramblers. What are the 3 things I need to kill?
Retributor squads.
Okay. Interesting. That's interesting because I want to kill them.
I know.
So you can.
Who would've-
Chuck's going to do movement if you want to mute us.
Who would have thought?
He has
So Chuck
engagement
on the
fronts
roll to
when
go
we stand
first.
and fight, which is the 3 Retributor squads. and
Yes,
deploy
Chuck did go.
scramblers.
So Chuck won the roll to go first. So they both took engage on all fronts. So you're absolutely going to expect a widespread, very cagey matchup where resources are going devoted all over the board. I was actually just about to say the key win condition for both players is to spread out. Sisters can't afford to group up, move up the center of the board because of the 4 objective split along the spine. So it actually favors Colin and White Scars at first glance because Colin does have the mobility. He can come out of reserves a lot more efficiently. He can control what units hammer and die in very specific spots. So basically, he has the ability to control multiple parts of the board spread out. Sisters, not so much. 1 unit of Repentia can be easily killed. They're not going to bully and hold one obscure corner of the board as well as a unit of 10 Vanguard veterans. Or if they go there, they're there. And then on top of that, I heard Colin talking about combat squatting, which I think is brilliant. Combat squatting 5 Vanguard veterans, splitting them on opposite sides of the corner, and then hitting those outer edges is great. On top of that, he took deploy scramblers. He's got company veterans for that. Any one of those Vanguard veterans, if a 1 model lives, that 1 model can deploy scramblers or use the primary, secondary objective, data infiltrate or whatever it is.
Intercept,
data intercept. They can use that. And on top of that, they can go in and they can kill a Battle Sister squad easily. Just 1 Vanguard veteran model. So I think it favors Colin here. Chuck did go first, so it'll be really interesting to see what direction he decides to take his sisters here. If he spreads out or if he sticks to the center of the board and tries to spread out in the late game. Either way, I think he's in a bit of a rough spot. His move phase has to be decisive right now, and it has to immediately show what he wants to do turn 5.
I actually agree. I think Chuck wouldn't have wanted to go first. I think with his neutral deployment would suit him better to be the one counter-assaulting. Like I said, Chuck doesn't hold ground and doesn't bully. So sisters don't bully, yeah? They have explosive firepower from the back with the multi-melters, and then they have explosive melee when you sling your Repentia across the table. You get out of a Rhino 3 inches, you move in charge, so you advance in charge, so you can go up to, you chuck a miracle dice down, you got another 12 inches, and then you declare a charge. So 15 inches before you declare the charge. And so they hold ground by threatening you, whereas the Space Marines hold ground by bullying you, as in they exist on a place and then they have a sphere of influence, whereas the sphere of influence is far longer for the sisters, but they can't hold the thing once they get there. Like Repentia will just go down like guardsmen to these Space Marines, and so I would assume that he would have wanted Colin to go first, moved up into 2 or 3 objectives, and then counter-assaulted and started to push him off and start to churning. He would want to get the first hit on the diminishing returns of resources. He's not going to get that chance now, which means he's going to have to play a very different game. As we can see, I'm just going to quick run down of the deployment. I'll quickly go down Colin's, and then we'll go down Colin's with what he's done. Sorry, Chuck's with what he's done his first turn. To the left, we've got these 2 L's in Colin's deployment zone. To the left one, you can easily see a unit of 5 Vanguard veterans. I'm assuming there's another unit of 5 underneath the outcrop, and they've been combat squatted. On top of there, we've got a unit of 5 intercessors. I'm not quite sure. There might be a character or 2 under there also, because I'm not seeing where the Smash Chappie is. Because he's actually the only thing in this entire freaking army that's on a base that's bigger than a 40 mil. So it makes it a bit interesting. To the other L that he's got, you can see an amalgamation of a bunch of intercessors and stuff up on the top. I'm assuming they're on the bottom floor, of course, and they're up on top for viewing pleasure. Behind that, he just has an absolute freaking bunker of different units hunkered down in there. We've got Bladeguard veterans, we've got Vanguard veterans. I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe a 5-man unit of Vanguard veterans or even a 10-man in reserve. There are a lot of shenanigans he can do from reserve to get decent charges. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a thing for Colin, but it might not be the case. They might all be under there and we just can't see them. But moving over to Chuck's side of things, on the top right-hand corner, we can see we've got a Rhino, or it could actually, I think it actually is an Immolator. As you can see, it's got a little bit of a turret on it. Behind that, we have Junith. She's a little bit out of position, but the fact is she only needs to be within 6 inches of the Retributors to give them the real ones to hit and wants to win, which is the best use of her in many different situations. I'm of the opinion, though, that because Chuck is taken while we stand, it's actually going to be hard for him to get a good engagement with those Retributors, because as soon as he brings them out, they're going to get munched. So he wants to bring them out when they're going to get the absolute maximum firepower. So I expect them to be staying in those transports for quite the duration of this game. We've got a Rhino. So go, Pablo.
No. So I think while we stand on the Retributors, I think it kind of shows what he's going to do. I think he wants to play for turn 3, turn 4, and he wants to play a conservative game because, like you said, those Retributors, they die fast. If they come out early, he will lose for sure. So he's got to play conservatively with them. But on turn 4 and turn 5, after those multi-meltas and bolters clean up some Marines, those Repentia will absolutely start cleaning up. Excuse me, Retributors.
Yeah, absolutely right. We got Pickles in the chat. He's actually doing a great job giving us rolling updates from the floor. Pickles, you able to type up and tell us if there's anything in reserve for either player? I'm assuming there's going to be some Plasma Receptors and maybe some Vanguard veterans in reserve for Colin. But apart from that, probably everything else on the table. Wrapping up a roundup of Chuck's deployment. Directly above that immolator, we have a Rhino. I'm assuming there's a Repentia inside there. Could also actually be a unit of Retributors. We've got the other Immolator. I believe that's the Immolator up to into his bottom right L, and the one in his deployment zone. There's also below there. I think that might be. Actually, looks like Repentia. I actually want to say that's Repentia. I can see an Eviscerator there. So it's Repentia directly below that Immolator. And then the rest of his stuff, he's got a bunch of battle systems just bubbled up in a lot of different locations. See at the bottom right, the only real ingress he's made in this turn, it seems like his turn's already over, by the way, as we're going to the bottom of turn 1. The only ingress he's made out of his deployment zone was to probably what I assume is to use a Miracle Dice to get a good advance from Battle Sister Squad onto that bottom right objective to make Colin have to do something to equal him on the primary. So in which case, Colin has to move out. Of course, Colin has every incentive to want to move out as well, seeing as he has taken Data Intercept and he's taken Oath and Engage. So yeah, look, I don't think Chuck's got any points for Engage turn 1, which is actually a bit of a problem, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Chuck is going to definitely play the conservative game. He ended his movement phase, didn't shoot anything, shuffled some things around. He essentially forfeited his turn 1 to get to go second, which in 9th edition is not necessarily what you want to be doing. I know Chuck's feeling a lot of pressure right now. I think he's waiting for Colin to move up, make a mistake, and then strike. So it'll be very interesting what Colin does here. This movement phase is a lot more important than Chuck's movement phase was.
Exactly right. Harvey Danger has asked, what does Colin have for secondaries? Colin has taken Data Intercept, which is the mission-specific one. He has to do an action upon an objective, and then at the end of the start of his next command phase, he'll get a number of points equal to the number of objectives he holds. But that unit that's on the objective has to survive through his turn, which is the big deal. Take an Oath of Moment. It's a very good idea. He has a couple of characters that are pretty easy to pick up, things like Missionaries, things like Imagifiers. If you get to him with White Skies, you're going to freaking kill him. On top of that, he's actually got 3 tanks to pick up as well, which also are worth points.
Yeah, he's got 2 Immolators and 2 Rhinos, I believe. So, yeah.
But where that gets interesting for Oath of Moment, he gets 2 points for being within 6 of the middle of the table. That is actually like the most exposed position to Chuck's army in this board. If he wants to exist within 6 inches of the middle of the table for 2 points for Oath, he's going to get shot. So there might be a bit of a downside to taking that one in this. And you wouldn't think Oath of Moment would ever be a downside, but with Colin playing so defensively, the only way he's going to get shot is if he tries to play for those 2 points on Oath, which is a bit of an up, bit of a down. So just to round out, ask the question of M.M. Pickles, amazing gentleman as well. What is in reserve for each player? For Chuck, we have a Retributor squad, 2 Crusaders, and a Seraphim squad. The Crusaders, of course, are going to be doing a late game engage. They're going to come on from a table edge from Strategic Reserves, get some points there. Retributor squad makes all the sense in the world because that's the one he could not fit into a transport. And a Seraphim squad because they're going to come down to engage. They're going to shoot something as well and maybe clear a screen in the movement phase to help the Retributors come on in the Strategic Reserves phase. What do you think of those reserves, though, Pablo?
So I'm surprised by Colin's reserve. So he only reserved 5 Vanguard vets and 4 Plasma Inceptors. He has the CP to reserve more, and his list does do really well coming out of reserve. Maybe he thought going second he'd be better off deploying everything on the board because he essentially was a movement phase down on his opponent. But we're
starting the
it's interesting. He is going to have to move across no man's land with the 5 Plasma Inceptors and all the Vanguard veterans. So I don't know. I expected more reserves from Colin, but ultimately I think he's still got an edge right now going into turn 2.
All right, we're going to jump into the shooting phase and see what Colin's going to get done.
And then I will roll maximum 2s.
Now you're playing with bubbles.
Maximum 2s.
And 3s.
We're rolling once. Because the lieutenant is serious about it.
Wow, look at all your 2s.
Wow, 4.
4?
AP none.
I'll roll 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Those guys over there are data intercepting. That's why I didn't move them.
They're data intercepting? Are you
those guys in there
deploying over there and there?
I don't have scramblers. That's not a thing.
Oh, you could engage. Sorry. So I'm going to roll 3.
Okay.
In the cover. Now let's roll the last one.
Got one.
That one? All right. I will pull. Wait a second here. Not off the objective.
Weird. It doesn't matter. You keep the objective either way.
Oh, that's true.
That's it. That's my turn.
Morale phase around for that one.
Are they leadership 6?
If I roll a 1, I get a miracle die.
Okay. All right, so end of battle round, I didn't fall back or fail a morale test, so I take 1 point of oath. I get 2 points of engage. Beginning of your turn, how many objectives does Chuck have? 2?
1, 2.
So you get 5.
5 points. And that's rough.
End of 1, it's 3-3. Oh, both secondaries. No primary has been scored.
Beautiful. Switching back onto us, I believe. Such a cagey turn 1, man. And I did expect this from these two gentlemen. They know how each other plays so much, even if they don't know what this matchup is. I think it's pretty plottable what they think they were going to do in their openers. But safe to say that, like, with Colin deploying onto 3 objectives now, it's up to Chuck to change the status quo.
Yes, Chuck does have the initiative here. He has to decide what he wants to do now. So now we're going on to Chuck's turn 1B. After
1B. Yeah, dude. Perfectly said. Because Chuck had to have a non-event of a first turn because he didn't want to go first. He deployed to go second, wanted to go second. But man, you just lose that roll now. So he won the roll but lost the engagement, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. So now it is important to note that engage on all fronts. I don't think Chuck will be able to max out. Well, he definitely won't be able to max out engage on all fronts, but he might not even get above 10 on engage on all fronts as well. So Colin and Oath of Moments, he might be better off just skipping the secondary or grabbing it at the end. Remember, Colin is going second, so he will have the last turn, and Oath of Moments is an end of battle round objective. So he could sacrifice a unit, get 2 points, sacrifice a unit, get 2 points, and then max out the other versions of Oath of Moments, which is the vehicles, characters, and the free 5 points that everyone gets, and get a 14-point Oath of Moments over 2 turns of holding the center.
Spot freaking on, man.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see what Chuck does here.
So that top, what do we know that's in the top left-hand corner? Because that's the one that's doing the data intercept. I believe he's slung Intercessors or Incursors into the middle one, and then to the bottom right behind that terrain piece. It might, if I was him. Well, he's got 1 unit of Incursors, 2 units of Intercessors. So I'm assuming he's using Intercessors or Incursors to do all this movement right now. But he also could be Bladeguard, because Bladeguard is actually legitimately something he can sling out there, and then through Transhumans and 4+ Invols, he can reliably not freaking die to multi-melters. So that might be a good call from him, because that would leave Chuck in a position where he has to do something like a Retributor squad early, which would be hugely in Colin's benefit.
And I'm sorry, I said Infiltrators, I meant Incursors. And the only reason why I thought it was Incursors...
Same thing, man.
...is because I didn't see Colin move anything up there. So I think he specifically started the Incursors up there.
Just pointing out by Pickles, that is Incursors in the top left-hand corner. I didn't see... Yeah, exactly right. I didn't see him move anything, so I thought it must be the only unit that could have possibly started there.
They started there from the beginning of the game.
Yeah. I do think it's 2 units of Intercessors that have come out onto these middle 2 objectives. So yeah, City get 4 objectives to 1 in Colin's favor. Now, where it gets interesting is if those Incursors that are hidden and out of line of sight continue and are able to stay there and can finish that that data intercept, Colin's just going to get 4 points for it at the start of his next turn. It's actually a big deal. That is a game-losing situation. Chuck has to actually make moves now.
Well, Chuck has so much he has to do, right? So I can see he's already trying to figure out what he wants to do with the pre-measuring. But so you see, Chuck didn't get a primary objective scored turn 1. He didn't move on to the objective in the center, or maybe Junith might have tapped it. I'm not sure. I didn't see him score any primary points. So right now he has to take. He got
5 for primary.
Oh, okay, perfect. So right now he has to take the objectives from Colin. He has to move all of his hard-hitting lethal units into positions to start succeeding, because they need to start getting their points back now, and he needs to start making sure that he can score points in future turns too. So he has a lot to do right now. He has to figure out where he's going to put the majority of his army. He might consider bringing in reserves right now. This is the part of the tournament where you absolutely want to take a breath and plan out the rest of your turn, because this turn 2 is critical. Or turn
this turn 2 is going to. This turn 1B is going to dictate the rest of the game for Chuck. He has a unit of Retributors in reserve. So right now, nothing in his deployment zone can see the Incursors. The unit of Retributors can run on from the top table edge, which is his deployment zone edge, and they would could possibly be able to draw a line of sight. 4 multi-melters with 2 cherubs, so shooting twice. would probably kill those dudes. Transhuman might make it a bit saucy because admittedly Colin would 100% transhuman in that situation. Either that or he has to sling some Repentia. So he can totally sling Repentia. The bonus there, if he slung the Repentia, they would probably end inside that obscuring terrain.
Yeah, but then
and would be insulated from counter assaults, which would probably come in the form of a unit of 5 Vanguard.
Yeah, but if he slings the Repentia up there, I feel like they're low impact up in that corner, in that top left corner, if he slings them.
So the good thing about the Repentia, if he slings the Repentia, they can still, with the use of a Miracle Dice and the Advance and Charge strat, they can still have another relevant turn should they survive. And of course, they would have to end almost entirely within that terrain piece to survive. But admittedly, then Colin just like drops his 4-man Plasma Interceptors. Picks them all up, also Inceptors, picks them all up, and it was a non-event. But the fact is, he's going to get 4 points if Chuck does nothing. You see, there's a unit of Retributor's Repentia coming out. They're going for that left and middle objective to the top of that L. And so I think that just going into Intercessors, I think that's going to be a bad trade, because that is a trade, 100% a trade. Whatever he goes into, those will get hugely exposed. I've been trying to conjure up a way that he charges and doesn't get absolutely smashed. Theoretically, if he charged into that box, so I'm not sure if Chuck can tell us. Pickles can tell us. Are those boxes L's enclosed? Do they have any windows on the bottom floor? But yeah, what do you think's going to happen here, Pubs?
So
if I can call you Pubs,
no,
Petey,
you,
my babe.
you can call me whatever you want. So it is. I think pushing the center of the board, I think, is probably the smarter call. Instead of going for that edge objective in the top with the Incursors. You are going to lose Repentia here. You're going to lose a squad. You're denying Colin a point, and depending on where you go, it might be able to swing in your favor. So we don't know where his movement phase is going to end, but I think the way this turn is going to go, I think what Chuck is going to push for is he's going to push to take and hold 3 objectives, and then push for more objectives on his turn, or at least deny Colin a ton of points.
So the play he's doing right now is going to deny Colin. So he's at the start of Colin's turn. Colin's going to hold 3 objectives to Chuck's 3 objectives, because Chuck holds the bottom right, and he's obviously he's going to kill his Intercessors. He's going to hold the middle left. So it's going to be 3 to 3. It's going to be a 10-point turn to Colin, but he's still going to get 3 points on Data Intercept, which is why I thought the top left hand one was better, because not only do you give the 10-point turn on primary, you deny a whole 4 points. You take 4 points away on the secondaries.
You're absolutely right. Now, he could get greedy, and he could go for 4 objectives. So that there is a possibility that he takes the top left, kills the Incursors, and then kills this bottom right L in the middle. And then that's 4 objectives that Colin doesn't have, and he only gets the 2 objectives for primary points scored. So he could get greedy here and just spread himself out super thin early. I might consider that. That seems like the kind of Hail Mary PD Pob game throw that I'm known for, but he does have a lot of options here. He could just push the center. He could push the Incursors like you said on the top left. I don't think that's a bad idea.
1 sec. So Rob Sistrek 40k has asked, do we know what Miracle Dice Chuck has reserved? So that's a Miracle Dice Pickles. Those are the white dice to the right of that. Looks like he's got a D10 or D12 up on that crate in his deployment zone. The dice to the right of those are his Miracle Dice. I can't rightly make them out perfectly. I can see a 4, a 5. I think it's a 3 and a 3.
Or okay,
is that a 1?
I can't miss them all.
Pickles will report back in due time. He'll let us know in the chat. But good question, Sister, because that lets us know how he can sling things. Yeah, Rob Sister just said, how many cheats does he have? Please, people in the chat, please chuck up where you're from, what you're loving about Charity Hammer. If you've donated or got some raffle tickets, what do you want to win? And what you're painting at the moment, what you're working on, if you've got any hobby on the go, like where you're joining us from, where you're tuning in, we'd love to be able to give you a shout out on the stream, because we love anyone who's supporting us in this endeavor. So he's going to be able to get a 9-inch auto charge. What Rob Sistractor just pointed out with his movement phase, he's moved his vehicles in an interesting direction. See what he's done with that Rhino, Pablo. See the Rhino that's sitting in front of his home objective.
Blocking.
Yeah, it's blocking. It's zoning out from Vanguard Vets and Assault and Inceptors, but it's also in a position where legitimately it can hit 3 objectives with the Repentia inside. The Repentia with a 5 or 6 inch advance out of that Rhino can hit the bottom or either of the middles. I think it's very well positioned. And he's got another unit of Repentia actually, he's got the other Rhino in home. I can't quite see what's in there. It could also be the last unit of Repentia, but I was of the opinion the last unit of Repentia.
It's probably the last unit of Repentia, because a Rhino,
right.
Bloody Rose can't hold anything else, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So he does have it. So what that Rhino is probably it's probably pushed against the corner of of the building, and the Repentia, when they get out of it, they'll get out on the other side of the building. It'll be kind of like a surprise, guerrilla warfare Repentia squad coming out of that L.
I just want to tell everybody that I called it. He went for the one on the top left because obviously it's the best points denial play he's got. But he must have rolled a pretty significant charge. With his Pile and Consolidate, he has to end inside the box. Otherwise, he's just traded. Well, he's traded Repentia for Incursors and a 4-point swing, which is probably worth it. In the scheme of things.
It looks like he picked up Marines. I don't know if I can't see it in the corner of that L, but it looks like he picked up all the Marines from the objective with shooting on the bottom right objective in the middle too as well.
He had a couple of Rhinos, a couple of Sisters, and a couple of multi-melters from that immolator that could have lined them up. So he probably did take a pound of flesh. A few shout-outs in the chat. Glarg. He's in Scotland, loving the commentary and some of your favorite content creators. Thank you so much, my man. It means the world to us to have your support. Silencer 110, watching from Pittsburgh, assembling a tank commander, wanting to win that orc lot. Freaking sick. I hope you do, my mate. Please let us know what you're equipping the tank commander with or what variant you're building. Bob the Knight, UK Northwest. Nice to see some high level play with commentary, dude. Absolutely high level play. These are two incredible freaking players. It's going to be wonderful.
Great players, really good lists. And then Meaty Hooks from New Jersey, huge fan of the Frontline Gaming Network and Biff Pod.
Love your Meaty Hooks. Great name as well. And
absolutely.
Gunk with a H. JT here. JT, my boy. He's missing hanging out with us. Yeah, we were hanging out with JT. This time last year, I gave him we had a lovely game where he rolled freaking abysmally versus my Imperial Super. He was playing as Dark Eldar back then. But JT's a lovely man from Play on Tabletop. Please go check out his content. Some of the best bat reps in the freaking world, bar none. But Pablo, do you think this is what Chuck needed to do this turn? Do you think this is enough?
I think it was less than I think it was less than I expected. But it was definitely something. So it looks like he's moving those Repentia just towards the Marines. Looks like he's pre-measuring towards the Marines. So it looks like he was able to do something. And Colin, this is now a very more tighter game than it was one turn ago. He did deny Colin a bunch of points. I still think he has initiative, and I still think he needs to make some plays. He didn't bring any reserves that I saw, so he still has that in his back pocket. So this is still a game. It's going to be very interesting.
I will notice that top unit left of Repentia, just updated by Pickles. The unit of Curses just got removed. Like, you almost wouldn't even roll those dice. Like, if you weren't willing to put the transhuman in, you'd just be like, yeah, they're dead. If you put the transhuman in, maybe make you roll it. But
maybe those Repentia characters, they're pretty dead.
They vaped him like nothing. But he didn't get inside the box. I don't know if he didn't roll enough on the charge or Colin was lining the inside of the wall, but he didn't make it inside the box. So those guys are actually pretty well damn exposed. They're going to get picked up. But probably just some like Misk bolters will probably do the damage on them. Pickles just said, yes, he was lined up on the inside of the box. So that's a good foresight by Colin. Obviously, Colin being a very high-level player, foresaw the only way to remove those guys and stop them doing the action was to get in. And what he wanted to do was get inside the box. So Colin forced the trade by not letting him get inside the obscuring ruin if he did want to go into him. And yeah, got the job done. Aiden Zephyr in Reading UK, painting mortifiers, enjoying this cagey game, and will be happy if my raffle tickets bring me anything. Big fan of Biff Pod and Otherworld. Thank you, Otherworld Down Under. You missed Frontline. You missed Signals. Sorry, Chapter Tactics, but we'll forgive. Reading UK. Thank you so much. We've got such a menagerie of people tuning in from all over the world. Lovely. How many mortifiers are you playing? Are you somebody who's going to play 12, 16, 18? Some of these crazy nutters out there, or like my man Eric Lefouris, he plays literally just two singles. I'm a big fan of that play as well. Into Colin's turn 2, and you can see the sling the Vanguard vets, the 5-man Vanguard vets have already slung. Interesting to see if he puts the other unit of 5 up there as well, or if they go more central. But what do you see, Pablo, what do you see Colin doing in this turn? What is the place he needs to make?
I think he just needs to refresh the objectives and then go for that same play again. So in terms of Chucks, there's two kind of lines of thought with the way you play an army like Chucks. You can either shoot missiles or you can threat overload. And he chose the shoot missiles route. So right now he shot the unit of Repentia, got the maximum amount of denied points for Colin, but still kept his army together. Right, so think of him right now as just like a giant fortress that's shooting out like seeker missiles into key parts in the form of Repentias until he's ready to move and take the center of the board through attrition and movement, slight movement. So Colin doesn't need to do a whole lot. He can move 5 Vanguard veterans out and shoot his missiles of his own, so to speak. So it looks like both players are waiting patiently. Turn 4, turn 3 is going to be absolutely crazy. We're going to have a lot of things going on. There's going to be a lot of thinking and moving around. But I would suspect that Colin is going to be a little more conservative here in response to Chuck's conservative plays.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, so technically, what Chuck just did that turn, he can do 3 times in a game. He's got 3 bombs, he's got 3 missiles, like you said, that he can shoot out. But the difference here is every one of Colin's units to come turn 3 is a hammer unit, whereas Chuck has 3 of those hammer units and 3 only. Colin has 10. So Colin can play the game where he just tries to bleed Chuck out, forcing Chuck to have to commit a missile every turn for 3 turns, and then turn 4 and turn 5, Colin scores a crap ton of points and just rolls the game over. In the meantime, he can, if he keeps forcing Colin into the top left, like if he puts another unit up there and does data intercept again in the top left after he's killed the Repentia off, he's forcing those big missiles into almost irrelevant positions where they have to go to the top left rather than going central, like you said he would want them to do, because he wants to control those middle 2 objectives, because it's the obvious best 3 to go for in this situation, because of course it also denies the oath for the moment for Colin in addition. But if I was Chuck, first turn, I would have turned this game into Hammer and Anvil and made a big play for the bottom 2 objectives from him and tried to make this a neutral primary game for the first 2 turns, which I guess he kind of did. He made a play for the bottom right-hand corner just to try and get some points on primary, but I would have probably had like an empty Rhino or something minuscule I didn't care about, moved out and advanced onto that bottom right-hand, second right-hand corner objective on the bottom right.
The thing about Chuck's play that's very interesting is you have early on, you have the ability to threat overload, but you lose that ability the more you give away units like these Repentia. So it is something you have to decide early on in your games if you're playing an army like this Sisters army. So I actually love the idea of threat overloading, moving and advancing a Rhino onto that objective, maybe even moving both of those immolators up so those multi-melta or whatever's inside of those can go and get good firing lanes, moving all of your Repentias out, bringing out your reserves, and just forcing Colin to spread out and make tough decisions. I think that's the right way you play that, but I'm not sure. I've never played Sisters.
So it would be a really wonky way of him doing this, having a Rhino with like not having Repentia in it. But in this case, I would love to have seen a Rhino with 2 units of 5 Sisters go onto that middle right corner, bottom right corner objective, because then, cool, you want to pop it, you're going to get 10 Sisters onto this objective. If you don't pop it, I'm going to sling possibly 10 Sisters into your objective, onto Colin's home objective, or onto the top left objective, and that would just really mess with a lot of his things. Of course, the reason he can sling those is because he can just pop down and say, here's a 5 from my advance, and I'm going to sling these guys 14 inches onto your home objective from that middle one. And because he would actually be in a position to really just absolutely mess with Colin's primary, which is one of the biggest strengths of Sisters. You think of them as like, oh yeah, they're spicy guardsmen, they're just guardsmen with extra rules, but they're not. They're so much quicker and with such more reliable bodies. And on top of that, they have ability to do so much more power. NJ40K Dad, how you doing, man? Welcome. We have Malkithi02 watching from Washington DC, working on a Spoilpox Scrivener. You're going to use that in a Nurgle Demons army, or you're going to chuck it in with some Death Guard? Because man, Death Guard are looking so saucy. Movement phase for Colin, we've seen 5 Vanguard veterans go up to the top. They're looking to engage and deal with those Repentia. Going into the 5 Vanguard vets. Looks like they have moved onto the right. That unit that is in that ruin, I think I might be correct in saying that I think they're the Zephyrim. You think that's what do you think?
So. I'm pretty sure that's the Zephyrim. We also have the Chaplain, the Bike Chaplain coming out. You can see that chonky base in the bottom left.
The big old chonker. He's coming out to get some angles so he can threaten any of these objectives, because of course advance and charge on this guy is actually freaking heinous. I'm interested to know, I wonder where Kor'sarro Khan is, because he actually adds quite a few lovely things also. The bottom right-hand corner objective, the one that Chuck is looking pretty secure on, hasn't seen any investment from Colin. I wonder if he thinks that's just ones that just a lost cause, seeing as he just feels like Colin can just chuck stuff on that at will, and it's not going to bother. But yeah, I wonder what he wants to do. Bottom right ruin is just another unit of Sisters. Sorry, it's just 5 Sisters, guys. Below that Immolator in Colin's right-hand L in his deployment zone.
The Dire Avenger 86 from Seattle wants to know how we feel about Ravenwing Black Knights. I love them. Dark Angel's got a huge buff coming in. Obviously, the Deathwing spam is probably the best, but the cool thing about Dark Angels is that they have a lot of awesome options that Space Marines have, and then on top of that, they have their Apothecary. They have, obviously the Deathwing, Ravenwing, Transhuman Physiology super units. But I like Dark Angels. I think they're in a position now where you can take the units that you love. If you really like even underpowered units, I think you can do that, and you can still do really well with them.
I agree. I'm actually a big fan of Black Knights. I think they need like one more rule added to them. Right now, sitting at I think it's 42 points or it's 45 points a pop. I don't actually think they should be paying for their Corvus hammers. I think they should come free. So at 40 points, I think they'd be very spicy. At 45, it actually makes it a little bit awkward. I've got a crap load of lists with Black Knights in them. I'm waiting for a reason to put them on the table. At some point, I'm going to run 3 into 3 or 3 into 5, I think, which I like a hell of a lot. But I either want them to be a little bit more dangerous in combat, or to have some other level of jank. Like, I mean, admittedly, the moving and getting a 5+ invul and advancing and get a 4+, with they got the Warlord trait that you can advance, still shoot them as normal, like without any issues. I think is really, really sexy. But yeah, dude, 3 into 3, 3 into 5, I think is very, very, very nice. Maybe 1 unit of 9 if they get the right rules. But yeah, see how it goes. A Dark Talent. I took a Dark Talent to an RTT yesterday, and I can tell you that guy's really good. I'm not sure if he's 210 points good. Very, very, very good, though. Dakarin, this commentary seems very sus. Absolutely. It's very fallen. It's fallen from grace. Where are we at right now, Pickles? Are we in the shooting phase? Do we have anything we want to listen to right now?
Yeah, we can do shooting. They're just about to start shooting phase. I can pipe them up here. Give me a sec.
Let's have a listen.
Yep.
Okay.
The chaplain shot.
The chappie just killed 3 Repentia somehow with his gun.
Nice.
Well, he's only good at close combat. So he's gonna make up for it somewhere.
Right?
Which one's this one?
This is these guys into the Repentia. Sorry. 3s.
Looking for 3s and 3s.
So that is auto bolters from Intercessors.
Yep.
Yeah. This is too many dice.
Yep.
There you go. I picked up a die that I didn't mean to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a lot.
6s. 2 save. Feel no pains. They do not feel pain. 2 die.
Okay. Perfect. That's exactly what I want.
Woohoo!
This one.
Bolachuk.
Okay. I think
So
that's
we
all
have
my
5
shoots
dead
because
from
they
shooting.
advanced and these guys advanced. So let's start by charging here.
Okay.
A 7 is plenty. I don't know. I can't see, but I think that this is. I think I can just go like this.
We can just fake it. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to touch the wall, but otherwise, good.
Okay. I do want the leader to be in cover. Okay. And then those guys will get charged as well.
Yep.
You want to watch me?
I really do. I shoot all of my guns at you.
Okay. With your sassy guns. They're going to come in here like this.
Okay.
It seems safer.
All right, that's brilliant. So, if we
That's
can
what
move
Chuck
players real
wish he
quick.
did.
Yes,
Presuming that 4
well,
of them aren't going to obliterate me when you interrupt.
this is why it's important to think about games going, or think about moving. Think about your turns moving forward, kind of like chess, right? So essentially, what Colin did here was he lined up his Incursors along that wall, hoping that Chuck would charge them, which he
Right, so
did.
this guy
Chuck
most
charged them, ended up on the
realistically
wrong
can't
side
fight
of that wall, which gave
Unless I
Colin
want
a
Melta
free
Land in a
charge
place
with
I
his
don't want
Vanguard
Melta Land
veterans
in.
on the right side of the wall
There's a
again,
high cost.
giving
these
him
guys will go
putting him
first.
essentially in the same
Okay.
position as before,
Alright,
except he has a
so
better unit
5,
in there in the Vanguard veterans.
1,
Now, I did
2,
have a question for you, Adam.
3.
I know it
Yep.
sounds weird
4.
to call a few bolter
I
shots
don't know how.
and
I
a
don't actually
5-man
know how
Space
this
Marine
goes,
unit
but I'm hoping.
overcommitting, but do you think Colin overcommitted to that top left side a little bit? Because those Vanguard veterans, they're not in a great spot to do stuff. They have that objective, it's theirs, but they can't quite move out and charge the big L, especially if Chuck moves back a little bit, which he's totally capable of doing. They can start pushing, and we can start going, clockwise and doing the circle around the objectives, the tour of the battlefield, so to speak, that a lot of people like to play. And that kind of does put him at an advantage. But right now, I think those Vanguard veterans, I don't think they're going to do a lot this game unless Colin starts trying to risk them and put them in positions to succeed.
Yeah.
So,
well, so look, you actually pointed out the start, like of that bit of commentary. Colin just did to Chuck what Chuck. I think Chuck just played entirely into Colin's hands there, like putting the Incursors up there and making them do the data intercept to bait the Repentia, and then the Vanguard vets going in to charge the Repentia, replacing them. And literally nothing has changed now except the same thing that was going to happen last turn is going to happen next turn, except Chuck's just lost some Repentia. He's lost one of his missiles that is integral missile units. On top of that, those Vanguard vets are now in a very secure spot. You look at the ones at the bottom right of Chuck's deployment zone. They made it into those sisters, ate them through the wall, and now sitting on the other side of the freaking wall in a very horrible
really
position.
Those are
really dangerous. They have to go, but what do you have to? The only thing that can kill them is Repentia. That's the theme of Colin's list. The only thing that can kill stuff in Colin's list is the freaking Repentia, and you just lost one for 5 Incursors. Admittedly, it was stopping a 4-point swing, but it's going to cost him, man. It's going to bleed him out, and this is what I was afraid was going to happen.
Yeah. The overall, I think this play worked out in Colin's favor. I am a little concerned with his 5 Vanguard veterans sitting on that objective in the future, turn 5. If they just sit there, but they're also just scoring in points, so it might be worth it in the end. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
So, can I get Pickles to confirm something? So that unit that was below the Immolator that just got charged by the Vanguard vets, I assumed that was Repentia at the start of the game. That's what it looked like to me. The number of models, the style of the model.
Yeah,
it was Repentia. Because I was told it was. I thought you told me the sisters. So that was a unit of Repentia just got picked up by Colin for free. So he slung a unit of Vanguard vets from his deployment zone with the move and charge and the +1. I'm assuming managed to get a engagement through the wall into that Repentia and just ate that full unit of Repentia for free. Where this is interesting is that I would assume that would mean that the Repentia in the top left for us would interrupt and then attack into the Vanguard veterans, possibly killing a couple, if not all of them. So is Pickles able to confirm whether an interrupt took place?
Yeah, he did interrupt there.
The waiting music is chiming in right now.
Bottom right.
Absolutely, he would interrupt. Like
that was just sisters. The bottom right room.
So you're saying he did not interrupt?
He did interrupt. Yeah.
He didn't interrupt with his small compromised unit of Repentia. He didn't interrupt. How many Vanguard vets did he kill, my man?
He got 3 of them.
I think Colin might be picking out casualties now. He got 3 out of 4. Might be enough to keep a couple alive. We'll see. That could be big. Might not be big. Might not matter. But any bit of ingress that you can make after losing that Repentia squad for free is huge. Actually, it's nice.
All right. Now Colin has 2. So now these 2 Vanguard veterans have to pick up 5 sisters.
Yeah.
They should be able
to pick
to
up 5 of them. 6 up Invuln, 5 up Feel No Pain, and so these guys got Storm Shield and Lightning Claw, so they're going to be coming in with 4 attacks apiece. 5, so 9 attacks. Yeah, it's hitting on 3s, 6 hits, wounding on 3s, re-rolling. Should get like 8 wounds. 6 up saves like 1, and then the 5 up. So he's odds on to have 1 left or none left.
Yeah, it's actually really close.
It actually is really close.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter with 2 Vanguard vets left. If he's got 1 left, doesn't matter. He holds the objective over him, so he gets the primary score on the board, which I think is the only thing he really cares about. So here's the attacks coming from Colin. Let's see how this washes out. Looks like 1, 2, 3. I think he might have 2 left. I think there's 1 inside the one he's in combat with, because Lord knows he isn't in combat with the one on that side of the wall.
Yeah.
Looks like
maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I think it looks like he got
1 left.
3.
He's fighting again right now.
He's fighting again. What a baller! Do it, man. Do it. Go you good thing. 2 hits. Do you know what he didn't take? I hope he hasn't taken the exploding 6s and he's forgotten to do it, because he just rolled 2 6s there for hits.
Let's see these 4 Invulns. Looks like a
He's
reroll.
spending another CP.
Looks like the Vanguard veterans are dead.
He's got I think he might have 1 left.
No,
Chucky, mad dog. That was a wonderful bit of play. Did what he have to do. Look at what's the primary count reading now? That's 3-3, evening this primary out, stopping a big swing on the primary and making Colin have to put some kind of resources there. Why did Chuck not consolidate into the box? Is into the ruin? because he's just going to be picked up by like one single bolter, just going to kill him. Interesting play. So what that ended up being, guys, for the people at home, with a big sling charge from the White Scars, he managed to get 5 Vanguard vets into a semi-exposed unit of Repentia, and he ate them for free. In return, there was an interrupt by Chuck, which took out 3 of the 5-man squad. The Vanguard then swung and killed, was it 4 out of 5 of the remaining Repentia? That one Repentia, Chuck went, I'm paying 3 CP for this one Repentia. On the off chance, on 3 attacks, she's going to kill 2 guys with 4 up invulns. And he freaking did it, man. That is a big risk, big reward play. 3 CP for one guy to sling 3 attacks. It paid off. And that paid off. That's going to directly correlate to Colin not getting a bunch of points on primary.
So actually, the answer to the question I asked you early, Adam, is Colin undercommitted to... He needed to shoot one more bolter over there or one more thing. To be fair, I think it was actually really well calculated by both players. Colin, I think, committed just enough resources to maybe 60-70% chance kill all those Repentia, and then Chuck on the back end took his 30% chance of one Repentia living and then maximized it in his favor. So that was actually a really big fight. And now both of those players are going to have to fight for that objective with reserves. So we're going to see more back and forth.
I'm actually really freaking happy this happened, because I was of the opinion if Colin just got to eat both these units of Repentia, the game might have been on the way to being cooked. But man, now I think it's actually kind of on. So he's got a unit of Repentia that can easily sling and dominate one, if not both, of these bottom right objectives, because they need to go down there to account for those Vanguard veterans. Nothing else in his army that's going to go over there and kill them, apart from committing Retributors. I'm liking that Chuck is holding onto the Retributors for really late game plays. I believe he's holding onto them to be a response to the Plasma Inceptors, which I actually think is the right call. But how do you feel about that, Pablo?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's the right call there.
Well, because they come out now, they just get killed by bolters.
Yes.
But they come out later, they don't get killed by anything, and they just actually just kill stuff. But he has got one unit of Retributors in reserve, which he might want to use this turn, because I thought that might be one thing he could use to try and kill those Vanguard veterans, the ones in the bottom right that are actually a massive threat right now. They can't be there at the end of Chuck's turn, yeah?
Yeah, the thing about those Retributors are so good, but using them to kill small MSU White Scars units just feels really awkward, right? Because we saw what those Vanguard veterans did. They started in Colin's deployment zone essentially and moved across the middle of the board to the other side and then charged and killed the Repentia. That's why White Scars are so dangerous. You have to be so careful. Units that you think are safe are not. It's like if you play chess, it's like a queen sitting on one end of the board, hitting multiple different threat angles, and hitting different parts of the board and threatening multiple parts of the board. If you lose track of the full threat range of any single White Scars unit, it'll absolutely come back to bite you. And it's why I think White Scars the cerebral players' Space Marines army.
Yeah, they are. But exactly what you said happened. A unit of Vanguard vets that was sitting in Colin's home L went from that side of the board to the other, charged a unit of Repentia that obviously Chuck thought was safe, and freaking iced him. It's actually crazy he was able to do that. Just going to look at the scores really quickly. They're completely dead even on primary, 10-10, which that only is a thing because of how Chuck played that Repentia squad. Playing all those CP to get that down meant it was a neutral 10-10 on the primary. And then 6 for Colin on secondaries, which I'm assuming is going to be 1 point for Oath, so 2 points for Oath now. And then 2 points for each turn so far on Engage. So he's got 3 quarters turn 1, 3 quarters turn 2, and then hasn't fallen back for 2 turns for 2 points on Oath. Now, in return, I think Chuck's just done his Engage. Chuck's just done 2 points for Engage in 2 turns. Hasn't got anything for Scrambles as of yet. I haven't seen him play in any manner that would make me suggest he has scrambled his opponent's deployment zone. That unit of Sisters that's unmolested on the bottom right-hand corner has probably scrambled in no man's land, and by now, one unit of Sisters has probably scrambled his deployment zone as well. So all he needs to do is just drop the Seraphim in his opponent's deployment zone from reserve, and he will have done that. But this is his turn 3. He needs to do it this turn. I'm not sure there's a good spot for them. We'll actually get Pickles to tell us, because there is a little bit of space on this table we can't actually quite see, we can't quantify. Bottom left-hand corner behind those crates, is there any spot there for the Seraphim to drop? Because that'd be my assumption of where they'd have to go. P-Pub, he's done the Rhino play that I wanted him to do turn 1. He's done it turn 3. But I think it's good. I think it's still a good play, and it's still every time is the right time to sling some rhinos, especially if they're empty. Man, slinging empty rhinos is so much fun. You're like, you don't have to kill this rhino.
And we're checking up on that container right now with the space for the Seraphim.
Yeah, because it looks like there's a model up there, but that could just be a piece of the terrain that we're not accounting for. Well, it could just be a dice for Collins.
It does look like a model. But, I don't know. Maybe it's a reserve model that they're just keeping as a reminder. I don't know exactly what it is.
The unit of Seraphim have come out. You see the unit of Seraphim, they've just been slung from that L. They're going to go after that unit of Intercessors that are sitting next to the middle left L. Hey Core 555, how are you, Adam? Loving the work, mate. Dude, I'm doing really well. It is a lovely day here in Australia. Very fucking sorry, swearing. Privileged and honoured to be a part of this stream and to be part of something that's so positive and so incredible by our community. But sorry, Pablo, what were you gonna say?
Oh, Pickles, is it a Space Marine unit, or did a Reserve Sisters unit sneak in back there? Yeah,
we are
so Colin covered his
Space Marines,
back
yeah.
end.
Yeah, he stopped him from getting the easy mode scramblers. Well, as you can see, we've got a unit of Retributors that are walking on from that top left-hand corner. They're going to go, and they're going to try and get a bead on these Vanguard veterans that are sitting to the left of Colin's L. A little bit of a mistake by Colin. There's no need for that unit to be there. They could be inside the L and unshootable. So that might come back to bite him a little bit. We'll see how that pans out, though. There are the Seraphim being chucked up on the table. We'll see where he decides to place those. But I would be placing them just on that top left-hand objective. Yeah, exactly right. Just place.
I think Colin was. I think so. So I agree with you. I think Colin was giving Repentia Sisters the respect that they deserved when he moved, because by moving them farther away, he is preventing a unit of Sisters from jumping out at him. There is still that unit of Repentia in the Rhino, and he was going to kill Repentia, so Chuck was going to get more Miracle Dice. So I think that might be what Colin was doing there. But I agree with you. They're sneaking out these Retributors in the top left are in such a great spot. They can see into that building, they can shoot into that building, they can shoot those Vanguard veterans, and there's nothing anywhere near them on Colin's end that'll get to them. So Colin has to devote plasma and scepters to kill them, which should be able to pick them up, but then in turn creates this weird, once again, I take your unit, you take my unit kind of situation as well.
Yeah. This is so far for me, this is a masterful turn by Chuck. This movement phase is fantastic. You see, okay, so this is turn 3, and this is a turn that's going to look really bad for Colin, yeah? Because he's going to lose a bunch of units, and we're going to be like, oh no, Colin's lost, blah, blah, blah. But then we're going to have 9 Plasma Inceptors that are going to drop in, and with another 5 Vanguard Veterans. And it's going to change the polarity of this game once again. But if you see what Chuck has done, there is pretty much a continuous line of models that are about no more than 18 inches away from each other, from the top left-hand corner of the table right to the bottom right-hand corner of the table. Those Plasma Inceptors will more than likely have to drop in front of Chuck's army, not behind, which is the beautiful, beautiful play here. If there possibly could be a space above, we see where the pond is, the swamp, there might be a space there for them to drop, but if they drop there, they're shooting Seraphim and Seraphim. He doesn't give a crap. Doesn't give a crap. They're not shooting Retributors, they're not shooting Repentia. Could not care. An interesting thing just happened there. The Seraphim came down and they've just been picked up.
You don't think is the
Auspex scan?
Is that still a thing?
Wow, what could have? Yeah, it is still a thing. But what could have picked up those Seraphim? Is it what five assault bolter Intercessors picked up 5 Seraphim in cover?
So like Auspex scan to me has always been a cute stratagem. I've literally never seen it pick up anything ever.
I have. I've seen it. I played Guardsman into it, dropping Scions on Space Marines, and they get Auspex scared. It's rough.
I guess that's fair. I've been running Space Marines a long time, and I've never had an opportunity to Auspex scan something off the board.
That's a big deal. That is a very big deal. What just happened there? So I'm assuming that must have been the assault bolters from the Intercessors. So it is tact doctrine. They're going to get 3 shots each, 15 shots, hitting on 3s. So hitting on 4, sorry, for Auspex scan. So what, 7, 8 hits, winning on 3s, 5 wounds, only -1. They were in cover. Did he just have a horrible freaking roll there, or did we miss another interaction there? Was there a different unit we didn't see that did that shooting? Because for my mind, there's no freaking way he loses those Seraphim unless he rolled all 1s and 2s on 5 dice, which very unlikely. But that looks to be what's happened. So if we can get an update on what just actually occurred there, that'd be fantastic. Feel free to chime in, Pickles, if you want to just let us know via voice. But your call, brother.
Auto bolt rifles. Chuck rolled badly. Colin rolled hot.
Oh, that happens.
Wow. Yeah. That's sorry. Also, I just got corrected. Malisa Auspician doesn't occur the -1, so they were hitting on 3s. So 15 shots, 10 hits, 8 wounds, -1. And yeah, Chuck laid an absolute freaking egg. Yeah, he still must have laid an absolute freaking egg because those guys were in cover, so they had 3+ saves. Damn, man, that actually sucks pretty hard because that unit was actually pretty necessary. It's going to deny some primary points from Chuck, and that primary supremacy he was building this turn has got a little bit of a chink in the armor. Pablo, what do you think? What do you think Colin's going to lose this turn?
So he's definitely going to lose the Vanguard veteran squad in the top left. Actually, hold on. Are we in the salt phase already? Or no, we're in the shooting, right? Because the Nospix end just happened.
Yeah, still shooting.
Yeah. So I think he's probably going to lose these Vanguard veterans in the top left. He already lost the Vanguard veterans. It looks like in the bottom right.
Yeah.
If he's not careful, the following turn he is in danger of losing characters because he is losing layers of Space Marines for the characters. And the multi-melt angles are serious. They're coming in, so Colin has to play a lot more conservatively here. I think he's going to probably lose most, if not all, of these Vanguard veterans on the bottom left, and then from there, I don't know. I don't know if he has a lot to kill these rhinos and these immolators. It's actually really funny because sisters like this normally you don't have enough to kill all the bodies, but I think it's the opposite. I think that Colin doesn't have enough to kill. He has enough to kill the bodies, but not enough to kill the vehicles. His Inceptors have a lot of work ahead of them.
Yeah, well, he still has 5 Bladeguard. He's still holding back like a sword of Damocles. They're the ones lying inside of his bottom right L. Now, what's interesting, the Retributors that came in the top left-hand corner, I presumed they were going to shoot into... Oh, there they go. They just did it.
Yep,
I was presuming they were going to be shooting into those unit of 3 Vanguard veterans. They just picked up 3 out of the 5 of them, and now they're going to be using their cherubs to try and pick up the last 2. So,
go ahead.
2 more wounds. We'll see if those pick up anything. So the cherubs have gone. Here we go. They're going again. So this is actually a pretty big turn. So 3 out of 5 of those Vanguard have picked up. The Vanguard that you rightly said, the Vanguard below that right Colin's side, Chuck's side L have been picked up as well. They've skipped a little bit ahead, but I think Chuck must have forgotten to shoot his Retributors, and of course Colin, being the gentleman he is, absolutely letting him. The Seraphim into the Intercessors. That's an interesting one. So Seraphim come with power swords, I believe, and they come with inbuilt rerolls to wound. I believe they come with 3 attacks each.
They're winning on 5s, though, right?
Yeah, but they reroll, and now they're strength 4. So they're strength 4 because power swords. So winning on 4s, rerolling, and you get 6 up armors. Decent odds to get them, but they also might flub it and not.
Yeah, the 2 wounds each. It's actually really close.
It is close, man.
I think that the Intercessors should probably survive. But they also won't pick up Seraphim either.
There's only 1 of them left. They won't pick him up on the return at all. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot my man Morosoli's in the chat. He's just pointed out they had the +1 to wound strat as well, which surely he uses.
Okay,
how many got picked up there? Did we see?
Looks like all but 1, maybe, or all of them.
I think it's all of them. All but 1.
Picked up 4.
Yeah,
picked up 4.
Now, here's another interesting. So Chuck we're slowly starting to see the momentum shift in Chuck's favor. Chuck also has another really smart play. So when you're playing against Space Marine units, if you have tough, dedicated cheap transports like Rhinos or Chimeras, T7 vehicles that you don't care about, you can charge them into melee units that can't kill them, i.e. like Bladeguard veterans or Lightning Claw Vanguard veterans. And the Space Marine unit, if they fall back, they lose their Oath of Moment point, their free Oath of Moment point, because you can't fall back or fail morale test. So you can effectively, by chasing around unit Vanguard veterans across the board, you can effectively deny them 5 points with a transport by taking wounds on it. So that's something that I think Chuck is probably angling towards. I'd like to see his other Rhino start to get put into play here. It is still stuck behind that L, and I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of not putting vehicles behind L's like that because it just doesn't put them in a position to succeed.
Yeah. Obviously, that one has his last unit of Repentia in it, and he's saving that one to be the counter assault. Exactly, we're seeing a bit of a mirror here. So Chuck's got his last unit of Repentia kind of being held in reserve in that Rhino, and Colin's got essentially his last Hammer unit that isn't a character, of course, in the Bladeguard veteran, essentially in exactly the same position across from each other. Both those units can be slung into the middle of this table at the blink of an eye. And so it's going to be really cool to see which one of these players uses them better. Those two Vanguard veterans. So we might get an update on scores from Pickles when he's able. And just get these boys to upgate their scores. So this is the bottom of turn 3. We're going to see reserves come on from Colin. He can't hold them off the table anymore.
The start of the bottom of turn 3, yeah.
Yeah, so those two Vanguard veterans that were at the bottom. So look how fast they move with the advance and charge. So there's two left that the Retributors couldn't kill because I think Colin spiked his 4+ invulns as you want to do with that many Storm Shields. They've moved directly up. They're going to go into those Retributors. Issue is there. Those Retributors are likely to die to both of those. Chuck actually has to pay the CP to overwatch those two because it's a 5-point swing if they go down because they are a why we stand we fight, which may be a mistake. We'll see how that pans out because he has to use them. Yeah, he had to use them, and leaving the Vanguard vets alive, while unlikely, 4+ invulns, it can just freaking happen. I'm actually not surprised that happened either. The one assault intercessor intercessor that survived on the middle left objective is actually a massive pain in the ass because that guy's obsect is there from a knot that is denying and giving primary to Colin. But so sum total, Colin only held 2 objectives this turn, I believe. Is that correct from what you can see, Petey?
Yeah. Actually, well, hold on.
2.
Yeah, it's just 2 because the Vanguard veterans move. Yep.
But see, I had to zero from killed that one guy. It was a 0-point primary for, or maybe it was a 5-point. I can't remember if this is a hold 1 or hold 2 for 5. Yeah, but if you had killed that friggin' that one intercessor that the zero of them couldn't finish, yeah, it could have been a 0-point primary for our man Colin. Which big swing by Chuck. But we're about to see a big swing back this turn. I'm expecting all the drops to happen, and they're all going to be significant drops. So we will see.
So remember Colin didn't reserve a lot. He only reserved 3 units. He reserved 1 4-man Plasma Scepter squad, 1 Vanguard veteran squad, and I thought it was both the intercessor squads, 5-man, 4-man, and 5 Vanguard vets. So yeah, they're not huge, but they're all squads that are easily capable of picking up any one of Chuck's squads. Yeah, I guess where I was going with that was he didn't have a lot in reserve that could influence the way this game is right now because I think it's only 3 units. Now, I'm glad that Colin said, so there's a funny Colin quote in chat, I'm going to go ham because I think if I lose, if I don't. I was actually just about to say both players have been playing super conservatively up to this point. Now, both Colin especially, both players need to start moving out. They need to start putting pressure everywhere. I think that they both could have probably been doing this 1 turn earlier. They both did play very conservative turns. And now I think there's a sense of urgency for both players as well.
100%. See, that Sword of Damocles has been thrown, but the thing is, because of Chuck's clever play, that Sword of Damocles is falling on an empty freaking Rhino. There is a chance that he can sling and get a charge up into that Immolator, which is quite a possibility with all the shenanigans that White Scars are able to do. So that's 5 Bladeguard veterans. This is turn 3, guys. That is 3 damage Bladeguard veterans. They are going to absolutely mince either one of those tanks, possibly both those tanks. I do think no matter what, he's going to be tapping that Immolator. Colin's not a silly man. He'll make sure he gets a tap off on that, shut down as many resources as he can. That will leave him exposed to the Repentia charge in return, but I think he's okay with that. He has characters for days. He still has this Smash Chappie in reserve sitting here. Also in that blob of 5 Bladeguard vets, he has got 2 characters. He has got Kor'sarro Khan in there, who's absolutely terrifying in combat. And I believe he also has, what's his other character? He has a Reiver Sergeant, a Reiver Lieutenant. The Reiver Lieutenant is giving those Bladeguard, he's got Russell, he's giving them OBSEC as well. So they're going to hold that over the Rhino. Man, if I was him, I'd wrap the Rhino with the Bladeguard.
I think that would probably be. I think wrapping the Rhino would be a good call because there is a chance that you don't pick up that Rhino even with 3 damage Bladeguard veterans.
Don't think you want to. If you can see, I don't know if you noticed it before. See all the models to the right of screen. That's all the Retributors.
Yep.
So yeah, just to the right of screen for Colin, all around his side, behind Junith. That's all his Retributors. All his Retributors are on the board. You cannot let your Bladeguard is your last true bully that you have left. The rest of you have 5-man Vanguard unit, which is a pinch hitting, very good, very reliable unit. It's not a true bully though.
Now,
by not letting those freaking retributors unload everything. On with the opinion, they still probably got their cherubs. They probably didn't need to choose to do the cherubs because they killed those unit of 5 Vanguard. Yeah, I think he wraps him, doesn't get shot by possibly like 16 multi-melter shots and lose the unit. And next turn, he can actually slingshot all the way in, actually mulch Chuck's home objective.
Yeah. Now, Adam, while in the middle of Colin's movement phase, where do you think his reserves go at this point? Because there's a ton of options.
Yeah, I think they just have to clear objectives, man. He doesn't have a choice. He needs to take back the primary. If he doesn't take back the primary now, Chuck's going to get a 15-point turn. Because he's still holding right. He's only holding 3 at the moment. So he takes care of the Zephyrim. It remains supremacy on that. He's already going to be taking the middle right objective. On top of that, there is a sneaky ploy that he can have one of his characters be within 2 of the middle for Oath of Moment. He's got 5 bodies in that unit for Rob's Ratchy, whatever it is, 40k. He's got 5 bodies. That is enough to wrap a tank with the maximum 2-unit coherency and being on 40 mil bases. It can be hard for intercessors to do that on 32s, depending on how you place the unit and how you get the charge. But the fact you can get such big charges with White Scars means it's actually pretty easy. He does have 2 characters in there that he can use to block off a corner as well. Like Kor'sarro could go into a corner, or the Lieutenant. Obviously, you'd use the Lieutenant because Kor'sarro is likely to just kill the damn thing by himself, which is no bueno. Jumping over, it's got a unit, looks like to be the unit of 4 Plasma Inceptors have dropped into that left L. Interesting positioning. They're not in a position to shoot anything. So it's a curious thing, which I actually think is quite clever. Now that I'm thinking about it, that is actually a quite clever play, because the chappie going on to the one intercessor being left on that right, the upper left and middle objective being still alive means OBSEC, he controls that one. Then the smash chappie goes up and clears that one. To get that one back from the smash chappie, you have to use the Repentia. There's nothing else in his army left that's going to kill that smash chappie. Use the Repentia, then the intercessors come out, kill the Repentia, supremacy maintained. Sorry, Pablo, go.
Well, I think depending on Miracle Dice and luck, there's a chance that those 2 Vanguard veterans in the top left can't pick up all of the multi-meltas. So it's very, very, very unlikely. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this Chaplain, if he kills a Zephyrim, clears up the center of the board, it could get killed by multi-meltas if Colin isn't careful. It's in a very dangerous position. The Plasma Inceptors going into the building, at first I agree with you. It looked a little questionable, but it's actually is secretly brilliant. They're in a reserve position. They're doing what the Vanguard veterans were doing before for Colin, which is answering a threat where they need to go. This is still a very cagey game being played by both players, and it's actually a really, really well played game.
Absolutely. Do you know what's going to happen in the top left, Pablo? He's going to declare a charge with those 2 Vanguard veterans into the Retributors. Chuck's going to be like, you know what? I'm the guy who spent 3 CP to double attack with 1 Repentia, and it paid off. I'm spending a CP to Overwatch. He's going to kill them both on Overwatch. He's going to ice them.
Possible. It's 2 Vanguard veterans going into 8 multi-melta shots.
8 multi-melta shots. He's odds on to kill 1, man. He's odds on to kill 1.
Yeah, and even if one, and even if 1 dies, it's not. It's a very, there's a chance that they both die if 1 dies in Overwatch, no matter how slim. It's just obviously I think it's still the right call. I think that average dice says that those Vanguard veterans should eventually pick up those multi-melta retributors, but dice are fickle beings.
They are fickle beasts, my man. They are fickle beasts. The unit of 5 Plasma Inceptors has been placed. You look where he's put the Vanguard. See the Vanguard, they're on the hill there. They're going to go into the bottom right-hand objective. I'm assuming that's where he's going to put his big, because you can do a 3d6 charge with White Scars, yeah? I'm assuming that's where he's going to put it. So he's going to put his 3d6 charge into the bottom right-hand corner, clear that objective, forcing Chuck's hand in a lot of ways. And then he's also got the Bladeguard onto the one to the upper left of that. Chappie's going to clear out the next one up to the left of the middle L, and the top one is actually clear. It's nothing on it at the moment. Yeah, so man, Colin's in a good place to retake 4 of these objectives.
Yeah, and down there is also where the Flames of the Plainsrunner Lieutenant are. So all of the units down there in range of him will get extra advance and charge rolls.
Exactly, because he's got a Vox Espiritum as well. So that aura of +1 to all those good things is 12 inches, not 6.
Yep.
On top of that, he can actually make sure that they have, depending on how he places his charges after he charges the Lieutenant, make sure those guys have OBSEC in addition, which is, dude, man, it's so spicy. What phase do you think they're in at the moment? I think
they're shooting.
yeah, we might cut to the players, see what they're up to. Yeah, let's tune in and see how this goes.
All right. So far, Colin has used the Plasma Intercessors to clear 2 Crusaders. Seems 5 Plasma Intercessors are very up to that job. And then,
We did not bother rolling.
Yeah, the Chaplain shot, and I rolled hot, so no dead sisters over there in the corner.
I think we're charging now.
Chargy phase.
3d6 charge.
Show me that Overwatch. Oh, I can't wait.
Next.
Oh man, 3 1s.
Did he just triple snakes?
It looked like it.
And
Two
CP
ones
to
and a
reroll,
two.
yeah.
Reroll
He's made
the
it. He made it on the reroll. Yeah. What's the CP count
I
here,
feel like we
Pickles?
subjected
Tell
them
us.
now. I'm at 1.
4.
I didn't get 1 this turn, though. So I'm actually at 2. Right here?
Yep.
Okay, that's enough. Basically,
man.
these guys are fighting and everybody else is near them.
You heard that,
Not
yeah.
everyone,
Colin's
just
got
these
1,
3.
Chuck's got 4.
Yeah, 'cause you want the other 2 to stay.
Yes.
Yep, love you, work, brother.
I think that we can go like this. I think I'll be okay. And then this guy like this.
And Chaplain.
Chaplain into the sisters. 4. Ting. I'll charge that guy back in.
Oh, right, because you're White Scars. That seems fine.
Friggin' fullback in
Actually, I
charge
don't want
there.
to charge you back in because I don't want you to interrupt him, Colin.
Okay.
Over there?
That is going to get some attention.
Okay. I don't have a
Here
reroll,
it
so
comes.
if you roll well,
He's gonna
then-
roll. He's gonna roll 3 6s on his Overwatch.
Start with the bolt gun.
Okay.
Oh, you tease.
He's got a 1 wound guy there. He wants to plink it off so it doesn't take a multi-multi hit.
Okay. Hey, look, they're in.
Wah, wah.
And they'll trap you in the
So
corner.
looks like nothing died in Overwatch. Looks like we're gonna have a pretty
You in the
standard.
corner.
Yeah, that kind of shit's kind of
What's that?
not very socially acceptable.
Trapping people in the
Tell
corner?
Colin.
Oh,
Pick-
just
Pickles,
the-
you
the
tell
amount of
Colin
rolls.
he's
He's at a
disappointed.
battle and trap him.
All right, where do you want to interrupt? Probably nowhere. Why?
He didn't kill the 2 Vanguard in Overwatch.
Well, I'm constantly disappointed by Pablo, so...
Colin.
Oh, hold on. Adam and I are
Oh,
both
that would have been
Oh.
beautiful.
Yeah, okay.
Mutual.
That's I dig that. You're not going to interrupt here. I guess I'll do them over there because maybe your 6 attacks kill my Vanguard vets. There's not really anywhere you want to spend 2 CP is really what I'm coming down to. Do I have a red hat on either of the guys over there?
Yes.
Okay.
I would do it over there because just 1 wound
I know, that's what I'm saying.
means you don't kill my unit.
That's what I'm saying. 3 AP3s so far. Let's add 2 more AP3s.
6s.
There's a chance.
Yep.
Yeah, they.
Oh,
Now they're gonna get consolidated
I will hug,
into.
please.
run away.
Are you interrupting?
He's gonna have to desperate break at them.
I
How many
didn't.
wounds does the Chaplain have?
7.
Pickles, can you tell us if that guy's locked against the board and can't fall back to the last stretch computer?
Let's think. So he's T5
Yeah. And he has a 4-up invul too. You're not going to do anything.
and
to
a
him.
4 pinball? Yeah, fuck that.
He gets more attacks.
Yep.
8 attacks.
Yep.
Gosh darn it.
They're locked in here with
Chaplain
me.
is winding up.
8 attacks on over here with the chaplain.
Yep.
He hits 8 times.
T3.
He wounds you 7 times at AP3, 4 damage each.
You kill exactly 4 because I roll 3 6.
Okay.
Oh my God, the chaplain didn't kill them all. Oh no, he did. Okay.
Yeah, you
Bladeguard.
wrapped them up.
Okay. Good. All is right with the world.
Yeah, there's no freaking way to kill them all. Not in Assault Dog. Not with
There's
Ren
only 4 of them
3 or
playing,
Ren 4 with
but they are +1 to wound and reroll 1s and reroll 1s. So we'll start by taking 2s away. This is the Bladeguard into this Rhino. I don't get
He's not
anything
rapid,
for
he's
killing
killing
it.
it.
I'm just killing it because that's what you do.
Convenient.
Right?
I tilted it incorrectly, so it
Yes,
dies.
you made it so that I can kill it. This is going to be 4s because I'm strength 6 and you're T more than that, and I'm +1.
7, you're +1, yeah.
But I'm going to reroll 1s, which is good because it is not going well so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No, this goes straight through. They're Ren 4 and Assault Dog and then
AP4?
damage 3. It's just auto dead.
You don't get an AP4.
6 up. 6 up for being sisters, sorry.
Are you a 2-up save normally?
No, I'm a sister.
Oh, 6. Sure.
5.
Okay, 5 times 3 is a lot, so he's
15?
dead.
Just a meager 15.
Is there a person who needs to hop out?
Nope. Already helped him out.
All right, cool.
He saw where that was going. And he jumped.
I can't see this, but I want to pile in a way where the Repentia can't just jump my characters.
Well, those guys can't go that way.
They're going forward. They're
They
not
have to,
going.
they have to go this direction.
Okay, there you go.
So you can just do that, yeah.
Okay. And then he will continue the semicircle.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. If you
And then you're
want
on the
to
objective.
run all the way around and kill the lieutenant, I guess that
I'm
is what it
far
is.
more interested in killing the Bladeguard.
I thought that might be the case. We did that fight.
Yep. She's
We
going
need
to fight
to
you
do
back.
this fight right here.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, yikes. This has been a good turn by Colin. It's a turn he needed to have, though.
This has actually been a really good game. It's been very close. Both players are playing really well, and it feels like every turn, with the exception of the first turn, feels like every turn a player's had the edge and looks like they're winning.
Yeah. And so this is exactly what we thought was going to happen. Well, I think I stated this at the start of Chuck's turn, that this turn was going to look, that last turn was going to look really bad for Colin, and then this turn was going to look really bad for Chuck.
7, 9.
Yeah, it was just going to be a
10,
case
11.
of they're both throwing haymakers from reserve, and Chuck had to go first, man. Because if Chuck was throwing a haymaker against Colin right now, this would be a different game.
I'm going to reroll it. Got a 6.
Okay.
We might make sure Pickles. We'll be able to make sure the scorecard gets updated, please, mate.
But not touching the wall.
Colin-
Colin
back over
should still be ahead by a little bit.
She's got 3 attacks because she's in charge. Hits a couple of times.
Okay.
5s. That counts. Leads out to a 5.
No, does not count. Morale on her?
Might just get us back to us, Pickles, while they're just running through just a bit of the formalities here. Obviously, like 5 Vanguard Vets against 5 Sisters in when they're in Assault Doctrine. Pretty sure that one's going to roll. So yeah, back to us. So everything that I thought was going to happen here happened, with the exception of I did make a big call. Those 2 Vanguard Vets were going to live, but they still failed to do their job. They only killed 5 out of the 6 Retributors. That one last Retributor represents 5 while we stand points.
Yeah,
That guy has to desperate breakout, doesn't he?
Yeah, she does, and you have to, make sure you don't roll the 1 and all that good stuff. But Chuck's in a very interesting spot here. He still has the 2 Retributor squads behind Junith sitting in the middle, and he has the ability to push out from the center. If I'm correct, I believe he still has a unit of Repentia sitting in that Rhino, which can pick up the Chaplain. Maybe with a super crazy lucky roll, pick up the Inceptors as well, or tag them where they will do worse. He still has a lot going for him. I suspect he's just going to consolidate everything and then make a big sisters push towards the center of the board, kill as much as he can, and then dare Colin to fight back or strike back, which I don't know if Colin's going to do.
Yeah, well, see, Colin's starting to engage bully mode, isn't he? He's like, well, I can bully now, you can't. And he's got this, dude, that nugget of stuff he has in the bottom right-hand corner is actually indomitable to what Chuck has left at the moment. The Repentia can go in, probably kill all the Bladeguard, then they die to the Vanguard veterans in the bottom right, or the characters. He can go into the Chappie, he will kill the Chappie, no problems. You're right, he might be able to get to those Plasma Inceptors right in that corner, but he has to attack them and kill them. Because tapping White Scars does nothing. They fall back and they can go to fall back and shoot and fall back, and they already fall back and charge.
Well, if they fall back, they lose an Oath of Moment point.
True. But you would at this stage of the game, it's kind of game winning to do so. On top of that, like 4 is that the 4-man or the 5-man Inceptor squad? I can't tell from here. It looks like
the 4-man in the bottom
4.
left. It's the 4-man in the top.
So
in
that's
the middle left.
that's actually enough. The tragic thing about that, 4 Inceptors that get charged, it's actually enough to kill half the Repentia squad. If you don't kill them, it's actually enough to just kill half the squad, which is just tragic.
There is another scenario here. So we're looking for another setup, counter punch in the middle, where Chuck goes in with his sisters, does a lot, and then Colin goes in with his Inceptors and cleans up with the plasma. If these Inceptors don't do work when they go in and counterpunch, they're essentially the last punch that Colin has. Because after that,
they are.
Chuck, the game is almost over, but there's a possibility where they don't do enough and Chuck punches harder. Turn 5, he's going to score a lot of points because these Inceptors don't take a lot of ground. So
True, yeah, they aren't. They don't have those spheres of influence, like we said. Yeah, we're absolutely right. Like Colin has made an apt choice, and he's decided to reserve his last 2 haymaker punches. He's saying, I want this is only turn 3. I need something like these for turns 4 and turns 5 because Chuck hasn't committed everything yet. Chuck's done the same. His Retributors haven't been fully committed. They did a little pinch hitting next, and they're going to come in and have a full commitment this turn, I believe. But see, the issue is, you see where the L is. If this is the way these boys usually play, he can't see into that L. They're inside. That wall would be blocked off. So those Retributors actually can't do anything. The only way to kill them is this turn is to use the Repentia. And that's a bad Repentia trade. They go in and the Repentia kill the Bladeguard, sure. They'll either get killed by characters or they get killed by plasmas. So I'm actually of the opinion that Chuck has just taken some dominant supremacy here. And this is what I thought was going to happen. If Colin forced an attrition war, like a tug of war, like as a Space Marine is stronger than a sister, the Space Marine army, like face to face, without the use of jank, without the use of top table play, is just going to be stronger in a straight fight. That's what Colin has forced. He's like, hey, there's a bunch of objectives. I'm going to put bodies on them. You got to come get it. Oh, you got it. I'm going to kill what's on there. I'm going to put more bodies on it, and you're going to have to come get it. And over time, it just bleeds.
I agree with you, Adam. I think if you're Chuck and you're in this position, you have to look at what late game units do you want to go toe to toe with these Plasma Inceptors. I think it's definitely the Retributors. If he kills those Bladeguard veterans, and then the Plasma Inceptors are the only thing left to kill those Repentia, then those Retributors can pick up the Plasma Inceptors, and Chuck is in a great spot. So
True.
So it's interesting. This is still a very close game. Chuck definitely needs to do something here, something big that gets him back into the game. Trying to kill the Chaplain with the Immolator, the Twin Link Multi-Melt on the Immolator is a great Hail Mary move. He could have moved the Immolator up to move block or try and hold an objective, but it's going right for the Chaplain with the bolters from looks like the Battle Sisters, who might actually charge into that last Intercessor next to the Chaplain and kill it. It'll be interesting. So that's a shooting I definitely want to see. I want to see those 4 multi-meltas shoot the Chaplain.
Yeah, I'd love if that Chappie went down. That'd be a big swing because then the sisters could just go into that Intercessor and they could wrap that guy if they wanted to. Because it is admittedly he'll have 4 attacks at rend 1 in Assault Dock, but there's still a 4-up saves with 5 sisters. He's not going to finish them all, and then he'd hold that one over Colin. Colin having to expose those, like you said, expose those Plasma Inceptors to kill 5 sisters. No bueno. Cannot afford to do that. That'd be huge.
You're right, and if they wrap that Intercessor, then the Inceptors have nothing to shoot.
Well, Colin would have to do a desperate breakout himself. He'd have to. Could we get Pickles to chime in? Did he desperate breakout that one Retributor in the top left? Sorry, Pablo. You continue on your train of thought because you're absolutely right. If that Chappie goes down, it's freaking huge, man.
Yeah.
But if the Chappie doesn't go down, he can't charge the sisters in because he'll get intervened on, and Chappie will eat him.
Yes. Yeah. So you're kind of hoping for Miracle Plane. This is why adding random Meltaguns into your list right now is so good. Just having one Meltagun shoot a character in this kind of like wild 9th edition Wild West can be critical because if you roll 5 or 6 and you kill that character, or if you're at half range and you roll the 4 plus and that character dies, it can be a huge swing. So having just random Meltas right now, specifically in 9th edition, is huge. And if your army has access to that, you should absolutely take that.
100%, man. The opportunity cost for taking a Melta is the fact that, I'm paying sometimes 10, sometimes 20 points for this thing that can just go off and kill just about anything in the game. I think it's a phenomenal thing to just be packing in there. And it used to be, so it's funny how the paradigm has shifted. Like last edition, Thunderhammers and Plasma Guns was the 2 literal best things you could, like special weapon-esque things you can take. And now it's Lightning Claws and Melter Guns or multi-melters. And it's just, it's fun. It's fun how things shift like that. It's interesting. I'd love to see a day when Flamers come back into vogue because I miss Flamers being good. I don't know about everybody else.
I mean, Flamers were back in vogue with Salamanders for briefly.
A fart for a good solid fart, and then they're like, "Nah, get rid of it."
This is with the range increase. This is absolutely the addition for Flamers.
So he's actually just picked up that Intercessor.
Yeah,
so Intercessor must have got picked up by bolters. Here's the Immolators. Come on, let's do it. Put this guy down. It'll be huge. I'm not saying I've got any Bias.
Okay.
Oh man,
Looks like we have 2 hits
looks
with a command
2
reroll.
hits. Yeah, looks like he even used a reroll on that. Oh no, sorry, there's 2 wounds.
Uh-oh. He's in half range. He's measuring for half range. We have a damage.
No, Colin's gonna reroll it. Colin's not gonna take the chance because it's gonna be he could just spike it.
Oh.
Because he'll miracle dice it. He'll just miracle dice the guy dead.
Oh, yeah.
Colin can't take the wound. Yeah, you completely forget the miracle dice sometimes. He can't let a single wound go through because he'll just like, oh yeah, I'm in half range, 7 wounds. I'll take a 5, bang, he's dead. So it looks like Colin did reroll it and did save it. Big deal there. Could have been a huge deal. But man, did he get 3 hits and then only 1 wound and had to reroll 1
He
of
shot.
the wounds?
Yes. He only got 1 hit on the 4 shots and then rerolled 1 to a hit. Or 4, excuse me. He got 3 hits, failed 2 wounds, rerolled 1.
Yeah, had to reroll 1.
Yeah.
Man, that's a yuck. That's a yuck. Bad luck, brother. But yeah, literally, we're sitting here just talking about it, and I completely forgot miracle dice exist. I was like, oh yeah, it's a big win, big loss here for the immolate. Maybe he'll roll a 6 and kill the guy. I'm like, no, he doesn't roll anything. He just like picks up the 5 on his miracle dice and like, this guy's dead. And we have a huge swing in this game.
Yeah, the Amish Stig in chat. We don't root for any particular player. We root for the maximum drama. That's what I love about Adam specifically. Adam going to the tournaments is a lot like me. We don't care about the outcomes. We just want to see like that random 6 that saves the guy and then flips the game, and just maximum drama, maximum narrative, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Colin just got a 15 on primary, guys. As you can see, he holds the bottom right. He holds 3 of the 4 spine objectives, and of course he holds his home objective. I wonder what he's holding his home objective. I can see a model just to the left of that L sitting on it, but I have no friggin' idea what that guy is.
There's one pinky toe of a something.
I think that's the Amish Stig. You guys like? He says you guys like. I like good dice. You love stories. I just think I think every game that happens is a narrative that can be built, and I'm here to call that narrative and to bring this game to life for you guys, and as the best way as I can freaking make possible. And that is to enhance the highs, enhance the low, diminish the lows at times. Underplay. Big moves, overplay bad moves, etc., just to shine a light on everything that's happening here. And I'm happy that's coming through for you. And Pablo is actually knocking it out of the freaking park, by the way.
Well, why, thank you. So this is why I love company veterans and action monkeys. So for 40 points, that pinky toe on the objective from that single company veteran model has scored Colin 5 points, single-handedly, probably 5 points this turn for having the more. Has had data, whatever the data primary secondary is, whatever it's called, data infiltration or whatever. Has probably used that every turn, and overall that model will probably have accounted for a quarter of Colin's points, a quarter to a third. If I were Colin, I would chop off the pinky toe of that company veteran and immortalize it, hanging off a bolt or something.
That's tops. Neil Kurz just joined us. Evening, Neil. Hopefully you're having a lovely day in snowy Sweden, whether it's your evening or your afternoon. I have no idea. I said evening, so I guess this is evening. We just had Mob Rules John join us. Welcome, my brother. I love your work. I love you replying to. I love him replying to YouTube comments. I think it's just the most hilarious segment. It might get Pickles to confirm whether or not the players know you can hold objectives without being on them, as long as you were the last guy to be on them. Maybe don't say that too loudly, in case that would significantly change the aspects of this game. We are definitely not in a position where we want to ever influence the outcome of things, but that would be pretty significant.
I ain't asking that.
Yeah, you ain't balls enough to ask that. Look at those assault intercessors. Sorry, plasma intercessors. Inceptors, damn the I words. Damn the I words to hell. They're just leapfrogged right up into relevance, and they're probably going to start cutting this out. Are you able to see what's happened on the right-hand side of this board where all those retributors were bunkered up?
Say that again.
Pablo? On the right-hand side of this board, in Chuck's home L, a unit has slung itself up must have gotten a pretty chunky advance.
Chuck describe it. Hang on a sec.
All right, so we got a squad of retributors in here, an immolator with a squad of retributors in here, and Junith. I stepped out of the position where Junith was because I was thinking about engage. and left a spot for Colin to jump his Vanguard into the center of all of it. And now they're going to kill one of my While We Stand, We Fights in a second here.
Can I see into this?
Literally what I was shining a light on. That's actually going to be really bad for this end score. Chuck has done a really, really, really good job of keeping those guys insulated and protected, and they just do a little bit of misplay in order to get some engage in all fronts points. He opened up that spot. As you can see, Junith is just below them on the other side of that L-shaped ruin, and Junith was in that spot, but he's just like, oh cool, Junith just jumps over the wall, I get 2 points for engage in all fronts, and that left the spot for the Vanguard to leapfrog in. Actually is going to end up being pretty rough. That full unit of 5 Vanguard is going to eat that unit. No chance, no problems.
Yeah, actually, I think probably Chuck maybe shouldn't have picked engage on all fronts, just because of how conservative he played. So just to give you guys an idea, he hasn't been in that bottom left quadrant. So in Colin's home quadrant, Chuck hasn't been there at all with a single character, a single model. So engage on all fronts, he's already hamstrung himself picking it. I think that he still has a chance. It's very slim. He didn't kill the Chaplain. Some of the big Hail Mary plays he made didn't come to fruition, and now he's going to lose Retributor multi-multi team unless he gets really lucky here. It's looking grim, but we'll see.
It is. So one thing I will say. Yeah, one thing I will say, I wonder if Colin is getting a little keen here, getting a little overextension going, because there is one unit of Repentia still left, and now he's just lined that up that unit of Repentia can eat that unit of Plasma Inceptors and that Chaplain. He can charge them both in very easily and get a multitude of attacks into either both. So maybe he's lost sight of that, or maybe he doesn't care because he feels like in too strong a position, but it's going to be bad. If you see right now, he's got his 4-man unit of Plasma Inceptors lining up for the shot on Junith, who exposed herself, of course, to get that engage in all fronts points. So yeah, she's probably going to get picked up as well. So man, Chuck's going to lose a fair quantity of stuff. He's probably going to be starting his turn with a meager 1 unit of Retributors, some Misk Sisters, possibly an Immolator, or so possibly 2 Immolators and 1 unit of Repentia. He still has tools. He still has great abilities. He's still got all the jank and like limitless opportunities that Miracle Dice offer you. But he's going to be in a really negative board state that he needs to change ASAP. Especially that he has the top of turn, like the top of freaking turn. I can't see how he stops Colin getting a 15-point turn at the end of the game. Is the fear that I have. So Colin's on 15 already. He just got another 15. How does he stop him getting a 15 at the end of turn 5 is my issue.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Let's go ahead and highlight what Chuck's victory conditions are right now. So it looks like Colin on the left side of the map is losing resources. All he has really over there is a Chaplain and the Plasma Inceptors. Those Bladeguard veterans can move to the back. They're centered to the board, but now they're kind of pushing Chuck's his deployment zone. That's the word I was looking for. So I think what Chuck needs to do here is he needs to push the left side on Colin's side and push for that group of 3 objectives. I'm looking at the objective in the top left, the objective in the top left middle, and the objective in Colin's deployment zone. If Chuck can make a push for those objectives, move block the Bladeguard veterans, and keep the units that kind of get left behind alive so that they can fight for objectives, I feel like that'll give him the best chance to win. Because if he can fight for one of the 3 objectives on the right side and take the 3 objectives on the left side, he can score 15 points to every turn from here on. It's a long shot, but I think he has plays. Another option also is he can bring everything back, maybe kind of recenter him or refocus all of his efforts into killing one of the core units that Colin has, and then on the final turn making a big push. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Obviously, we need to see the rest of Colin's turn before we determine what Chuck needs to do. But he has plays, but his window of opportunity is closing.
Absolutely right. And like I said, there was this tipping point where I feel like Colin just had the ability to bleed Chuck out over time. And I think one of the key things that enabled him to do that was combat squadding the Vanguard veteran squads. Because any one Repentia squad kills 10 Vanguard veterans, but having to trade a squad for 5 Vanguard veterans, man, I've still got 5 Vanguard veterans left in this other squad that can go and fight back and do the killing. So yeah, the fact that this is, and of course, like I said at the start, this is the power of White Scars. As soon as that turn 3 hits, any freaking White Scars unit can kill like 5 sisters. Anything. Doesn't matter what it is. And that is just where this thing freaking shines. And as we can see, turn 3, onwards, Colin has come alive in the amount of actions he took. He did like literally nothing for 2 turns, just some pinch hitting bits and pieces. Turn 3 onwards, he has been throwing absolute hammer blows at Chuck non-freaking stop, and he's not gonna let up. Like his foot's down, and it's going to continue to be down. He said it himself. He said, if I don't go for it here, I'm going to lose. He was right, and he called his moment, and he called his shot, and he looks like to be in prime position. But he can still flub it from here. Like it can still go south. There's so many like miracle dice shenanigans. There's so many interrupts, and like double attacking Repentia is messed up, man. I don't know if anybody else knows about it, but it's just so freaking yuck that he could eat with positioning properly. He can eat half of what Colin has left right now, depending if they're all close enough for him to pull it off. It's a big deal.
Oh yeah, he's only down by 7 points. Colin, I think, clearly is in the driver's seat here. However, Chuck, Miracle Dice, Luck, well positioning playing, a Colin mistake, any one of those things can get him into the game. So Colin needs to play tight still from here on in. Keep that foot on the throat, foot on the pedal, whatever cliche you want to say. But it'll be interesting. I think it will come down to the final turn.
Yeah, I think it will as well. But the issue is, I just can't see how, from this position he's in, I'm trying to conjure a situation or a board state which would enable Chuck to deny Colin getting a big primary swing at the end of the game. And it wouldn't be a thing if he could set up in his turn to deny it at the start of the turn. But I'm starting to see this, like the last game I called as well. Exactly the same thing happened. I was just like, this game is going to be decided by the fact that the player who got second is going to get like between a 10 and a 15 on primary on the last turn, and this might be the same deal.
Picking up the Battle Sisters, like they didn't have much to shoot, so it made sense that they shot the Battle Sisters. Now, let me pitch an improbable way for Chuck to get back into this game for you, Adam. This Chaplain charges the Simulator, eats Overwatch and dies. The Simulator moves up. Kill onto the objective, kills with all 4 of its shots, all 4 Plasma Scepters, takes that objective. Those Repentia pick up the Bladeguard veterans.
I'm liking this.
And then the Battle Sisters, the Bladeguard veterans failed to kill, move on to the objective in the center, and take the objective from the Plasma Scepters. Improbable.
It's not improbable. It's just going to happen.
Okay.
You are a soothsayer, my man. It's just going to happen.
We were maximizing drama.
Maximum drama will occur. Yeah, dude. It's just going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind that something is going to happen, and Colin is just going to have this massive swing turn, like he did with that single Repentia. Like, cause, dude, seriously, like, if that Repentia, if he didn't fight types with that Repentia, and that Repentia didn't kill that unit, he would not be in this game right now. He would actually be down. It was going to be a 15-point turn to Colin. He'd be up by about 15 points right now, rather than Colin being up by 7. And Chuck still very much being in it.
I need to be right back.
No stress at all. I will carry us in Pablo's intrepid silence. He must be off for a lavatory break, or one of his children. His daughter. He's only one child. Neil Kerr, I agree with Adam. White Scars are so strong because they are a time bomb. If you don't deal with them in the first 2 turns, they will likely roll over you. 100%. They will. Oh snap! Looks like we have a multi-melter using a 6 to get a hit with the multi-melter. Is that actually what's happened right now, or is that due? Is what you think is your call? What's going to occur? Ooh, where did that occur? Against the Chappie?
I'm not sure.
I'm hoping that was against the Chaplain on the charge, because that would be absolute freaking sauce. Yeah, let's see the players, man. Chuck them on.
Okay. I'm charging. He overwatched and used a bunch of Sister Shenanigan to kill 2 Vanguard vets over here. These 3 guys are going to kill them. They're worth 5 victory points. It's a pretty big deal.
Yep.
Over here, the Chaplain's going to go into the Immolator. They can't overwatch him now.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually wants to be like...
So close.
He can't fit through, so it's like that.
Okay. Then this?
Did I make it happen?
Oh.
Oh, I got my aura going. They're going to go into those sisters directly in front of them and steal that objective. Looks like I need to charge this guy as well.
He's not object, so... Oh, they're not object either.
Well, neither am I.
But you'll wipe him out. You just need to kill these guys. You don't have to kill him if you don't want.
Okay, I'll hug him instead then. So here go the Bladeguard. They got a 12 to show off. Well, and I have +2 because of where the Chaplain's sitting.
A mere 14 in charge. Can charge people. I wasn't able to declare even.
Con? Okay. I just don't want him to be outside.
Sure.
Is that all my charging? You can interrupt. Let's start over here.
Yeah.
3 of them or 2 of them left?
There's 3 of them there.
Okay. Oh, that's actually not that bad. It's always when you roll and you don't have any rerolls to hit that your brain goes, no! And as soon as you roll the dice.
All right, let's look for an interrupt after this. I don't think there is one here, but
I don't think there's anything worth interrupting with,
AP3s
unfortunately.
to survive.
I think he's better off saving all the CP to make sure these Repentia get every superpower possible.
Somebody lived. I have 1.
No, that's 6 right there.
Okay.
So they're all dead.
Okay.
Whoosh. I have 1 CP.
all right.
And I can't imagine a reason why I wouldn't touch this.
And then I get a...
Because
You absolutely
if you're
want
going to
to
shoot me, then you might as well be -1 to shoot.
and
Okay.
it makes me shoot you.
What's that?
Yeah, next.
Bladeguard? And one of the silliest things I'll roll all day, but I think we're doing great on time, so I might as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we should use it up, actually.
All of this. Reroll 1s from Con? I should have let Con go first, just out of principle.
Just to allow him to have something.
I did that earlier.
Absolutely.
He tried to get the killing blow on one of
Jeez.
those barbed tower duels.
Jeez.
But the barbed tower duels were too busy being wrecked by the chaplain. That chaplain killed
Man,
the
like,
duel on the
how
side.
how does he not let Kor'sarro can't get
I
the
made
voice?
attack.
Like, that's just crap.
I do 4 damage a hit. What? I'm wounding on 2s.
All right.
So all of this?
AP3.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're dead.
Okay. I would like to hug
Like
you,
how he
if I
rolled
can,
like half the
but I'll
dice.
let you figure out if it's possible.
I don't think you can, because you can only go 3, right?
Yeah, exactly. Roll up the
Chaplain,
dice
yeah.
because they're like they're friggin' strength 5, neg 4, 3 damage. Like you can't get a lot of
Let's
smash
see if the
characters with
chaplain
that kind
can
of
kill that
profile
vehicle on
anymore.
his own.
You just want to do something like this?
Yeah,
All right, so I think
Form
that's
of
pretty
Con.
much it. We've
Well,
got the
Con
chaplain
can
going into the
also
immolator.
make himself
Um,
even more in the middle.
So let's go ahead and
Alright,
kind
how
of
many more
review
attacks does
what
the
happened
chaplain
here,
get? 2?
Adam.
So he's going to
yeah, so- We've seen the Vanguard vets eat that unit and denied 5 while we stand points. We've got a wrap happen. Is that a wrap that's happened up in the middle with the?
No. So that was actually a mistake on Colin's part. So I think Colin was just trying to. I think both players were just kind of trying to like play a little more fun game, a little more loose game here. Colin rolled a 14-inch charge with those Bladeguard veterans, so he absolutely could have killed the Battle Sisters and wrapped that lone model, but he didn't. He didn't move the maximum amount. He didn't, and I don't think it mattered ultimately, but in a really, really close game or in a tournament setting, a mistake like that could actually cost you the game. So it didn't get wrapped. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't think it was necessarily Colin being a bad player there. I think they were just kind of like playing really
No, not at
loosely.
all. Yeah.
But
I think Colin knows he's very, very up on this, and he's okay to take the pedal off a little bit, possibly in order to give you guys a better show. Maybe that's not Colin's makeup. It's not part of his DNA, but I'm happy he's doing it anyway.
Yeah. So what happened in the right side of the map with the Vanguard veterans? They basically cleaned up a lot of those retributors. You can kind of see in the bottom screen. You can see an immolator right there that the Vanguard veterans have tagged, possibly pinned. It's kind of hard to tell from the small little camera there, but it's not looking great for Chuck right now. He overwatched the Vanguard veterans instead of the chaplain, which maybe was the right call. I feel like the 4 shots in the immolator with an auto 6 had a better shot of killing the chaplain than the retributors had of killing 4-up invul and 5-4-up invul and Vanguard veterans. So maybe a misplay there, but overall everything that we kind of suspected to happen happened. Colin made all of his charges, killed all the battle sisters he was going to kill, killed everything he touched, didn't lose anything in return, and now Chuck's in a very, very tight spot.
It absolutely is. Well, he's starting this turn with what? 1 immolator that's locked in combat, 1 rhino with Repentia in it, and what looks to be a character next to it. That's actually a big base. What is that? That's next to the rhino. under there.
No. And then another
Like if I
immolator as well.
yeah, and another immolator that's tapped. So two tapped immolators, one in combat with the freaking Dismash Chaplain. It's not going to be good. And then one unit of Repentia that literally have to shoulder this whole game on their shoulders and carry Chuck to victory. Can they do it? Look, there's so much jank you can do with Sisters. I wouldn't be surprised if they could, but I'm of the opinion they probably can't.
It's the Hospitalier person by the Rhino.
Cool. Yeah, so he's his little character medic chick, which I'm not even quite sure what she does, but I'm sure she's good. They're all pretty good.
Well, Hospitaller is cute.
Yeah. Look at George in the chat. Going off George, having a right-on rant. George is like me. When he rants strong, he rants hard, and everyone appreciates it. Fly on, you crazy diamond. Shine on, whatever it is. Love you, George. Welcome to the chat. Happy you're here. All right. So what's his Repentia? Which way do they go? So I'm kind of the opinion that this game is almost out of Chuck's reach, and if he can either try and be serious and do some crazy ass jank to make this into a game again, or he can be hilarious and try and use these guys like a champion.
So
Like,
I believe this Chuck's turn is the top of 5, correct?
This is the top of 5. That's
Okay.
the worst. I think that's the worst bit about this. If Chuck had the bottom of turn, there's so many more things he'd have the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
Because right now, no matter what he does with the Repentia, they're probably getting smoked in return.
All right. So let's go ahead. I think we should hear the players here. Maybe get a brief recap of what's on the board for Chuck, what's on the board for Colin.
And yeah, what's he thinking going into this turn? Is there anything he feels like he can do? Any agency he feels like he has?
Yeah.
That sounds fine. Okay. So it's top of 5, especially because of end of game scoring, but also because I just handed Chuck a 0 primary. The game's basically over, but it's a tournament game, so Chuck is practicing how many points can I get now that this is happening. He already has scramblers done, and engaging is going to be relatively easy because this is here, and then he's got stuff here. All he needs to do is drive this guy away from me or anything. There you go. He's done engage, so that's going to get him 2 points. The other thing he's going to get points from is when we stand, we fight, which is the Melta Sisters. They're in here. I was just talking to him about that. If he leaves it here, if the Repentia come out and tie up the Bladeguard, kill the Bladeguard, I can't take care of this. But if he drives it away, it's even better.
Well, actually, if I drive...
then it's easier for me.
Then you can shoot them.
Okay. So they might be in the safest place they can be.
I think they stay there.
Really, for Chuck to maximize points, just keeping these ladies inside that Rhino alive is the main thing. That's the main thing. I have 2 Vanguard vets in a build in this right here. These are 5 Plasma Inceptors. These are my 2 company veterans who are doing data tethers, data intercept every turn. 5 Plasma Inceptors here. This is an Apothecary standing here just for Oath of Moment reasons. This is my Chaplain here, and he failed at trying to kill this Immolator. 5 Bladeguard and Con, and I have 2 Vanguard vets in here. It is amusing to me that my army that my expendable resource is Vanguard vets. So Chuck is going to get another 2 for engage.
He's right. That's the other thing he's throwing away every turn.
Trying to save the Melta Sisters is his
absolutely.
only other real points.
Honestly, splitting the Vanguard veterans up into 2 combat squads is brilliant. It was absolutely, as soon as he said combat squads and I saw the 10-man Vanguard veterans, I knew that Colin had an edge right here with his army specifically.
Yeah,
it was
right.
massive. It went from 3 bully units to MSU bully units into Sisters.
Yeah, 5. But yeah, so it looks like the the army Stig says, "Do it, Chuck. The sisters must declare a war. Lay it on the edge, lay it on the table. Either it'll work or it'll end in hilarity." That's what I was saying. He can use them like a freaking champion and just be like, "Yeah, I've lost. I'm going to absolutely smash something before I go," which I respect. So this looks like they're going to go into the Bladeguard. They have good odds with a couple of CP to be able to slaughter those Bladeguard pretty much to a man as soon as. Because it's his turn, he can force Colin to spend CP on Transhuman before he slogs in any of his resources. So he can say, okay, cool, if you if you do transhuman, then I won't do +1 to wound. I'll save them for attack twice, things like this, which is a lot of jank and a lot of cool things you can do. And I guess it's the advantage of going first. You get to dictate who has to use the stratagems first. Something I found out to my chagrin a couple of weeks ago. I had a full unit of 10 Termies with lightning claws. Chaos Termies charge me with the exploding 4s against my guys, and I was like, all right, cool. I could make you wound me on 5s. But I don't know who do you get the veterans first, or do I get the +1 toughness first? Because I was definitely Terminators with Storm Shields. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Back to this bad boy. Do you think it kills the Vanguard in one? Kills the Bladeguard in one go? Do you reckon, or do you think it takes
With
two?
Revenja,
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have to fight twice to kill the Bladeguard veterans. Bladeguard veterans are really hard to kill. You need 2 chainswords to kill them, right?
Swings. Yeah.
2 swings instead of just 1. So it's tough. He's also got Khan in there too, right? And I think you have to make an effort to try and kill Khan as well.
Well, he's got Khan, and this is where it gets wonky. He's got a Primaris. He's got an Apothecary in there as well. So he's got 6 up feeling no pain on all these dudes. So 100% I think he needs.
Yeah, I think those Repentia came out too late. I think they should have came out last turn and tried to angle for the Chaplain or the Inceptor. The Inceptors that came out. Overall, I think Colin beat Chuck to the punch in terms of being aggressive. Essentially, both players were playing conservative until that one key moment where they could go all out. And I think Colin just did it 1 turn before Chuck could.
Well, it's because Chuck had to go first, isn't it? Chuck didn't have any agency. He got forced to go first when it was so freaking obvious it was the worst play he could have had, and it might have dictated the pace and momentum of this game to the nth degree. But I don't want to say this. This certainly isn't. These are 2 top-level players playing with incredibly honed, well-designed list. There's no freaking way this is a thing that we could say has been decided by who got first turn. But I will say it did set the pace of the game. It did meant that Colin got to have the response hits every time. That Chuck had to come out and Colin got to respond. Chuck had to come out, Colin got to respond. And that is exactly what happened here. The response has become so prevalent that he's been able to push into his opponent's deployment zone. He's denied him a bunch of points on a lot of secondaries. He's lost. He's already no chance for him to get more than 5 points of while we stand. He could even get 0 technically. And his scramblers has been messed with. But I'm of the opinion he's got his scramblers. He's locked it down. The Unit Crusaders that went into his opponent's deployment zone walked on that edge and would have gotten those scramblers for him. They did get picked up though, but all he would have needed to have done is to get something into no man's land to scramble. And he had a bunch of sisters in that area. He had the Seraphim. He had he had Retribution. He had everything in there that could have done it. Engage is going to cost him, and while we stand is going to cost him. It's going to hold him back. In saying that though, I don't believe Colin's got a big score on Oath. But I do think he's got big scores on Engage and Data Intercept. It's probably somewhere around the 8 points, 9 points mark for Data Intercept right now.
I think it almost maxes. I think it's definitely above 10. And then I think Oath of Moments, I think he maxed out because of that Apothecary sitting or the whatever that character is sitting in the center of the board. I think he did say it was the Apothecary, but I'm not 100% sure. So he's maxing out Oaths, he's maxing out Engage on all fronts, he's got high scoring for Data Intercept. Chuck really, I think so. I'm really curious to maybe hear Chuck's thoughts or the chat's thoughts on what they would have done in Chuck's position, right? So if you're going first with the Sisters Army, he chose to deploy conservatively and forfeit his turn 1 for a shot at beta striking Colin and taking over the game from there. It didn't. I don't think it worked out. There's actually a couple of ways you could have played that. So if you're looking at this game and you're a Sisters player, if you're looking at this game and you're playing 9th edition, it's a really good thought exercise to rebuild Chuck's turn 1 and figure out what you're going to do in that scenario. Because he
100% agree.
He could have deployed on the line. He could have moved up, tried to get engaged on all fronts with Battle Sisters and with actual cheap throwaway units, vehicles, and then forced Colin to kind of pick those off and then countered him that way, which would have given him a more aggressive turn 1 for a little bit of more dynamic play and dynamic movement. He could have deployed conservatively on the opposite side, so on the bottom side objective, away from Colin's Incursors, and then kind of conceded the left side of the board and made a hard push for the bottom and the right side of the board. He could have deployed conservatively and then just not missiled Repentia and then turtled and turned till turn 3 and then went crazy. There's a lot of different options he could have picked, and I'm not saying that he picked necessarily the wrong option. But all of those different options offer you different options for the rest of the game goes, and it's important to think about that. This kind of game theory is perfect. Great. I love thinking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love it as well. So from my point of view, I like most of what Colin did. Chuck did turn 1. I would have liked to have seen him go into 2 objectives rather than just the 1 he extended onto. Do you see that roll? Do we see that roll right now?
What just happened?
6 1s just got rolled on 6 dice.
Oh, I did not see that roll.
That's Khan. I think that's Khan just went poof. What? Either that was Khan going poof, or it was Khan's attacks and rolling to hit. He got 6 1s on 6 dice.
It looks like the Bladeguard veterans all got picked up.
Oh, they got picked up. The Bladeguard veterans are gone. That is so good. The sound effects actually made that, by the way. Whoever did that, I love your work. They're not here to.
I think the simulator is going to put 2 1s on the Chaplain. These are some scrappy gals.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. They're going to mess this guy up, man. That is about a 1 in 50,000 chance, and Dice love the stories. That is such a freaking crazy roll, man. So good. I love that. I love that stuff. But yeah, so the Repentia, they went in. They did what they're going to do. They do what they say on the box. Like, we chop. Oh, cool, we chop, and they just chop Bladeguard absolutely to bits. Looks like they're getting a wrap off on what I assume. Well, it's Khan. They've wrapped Khan. For better or worse, I assumed if they did that, Khan was going to kill half the unit. But then Khan rolls 6 1s. So good. But back to what you were saying before, how Chuck could have played his first turn. So the reason I want Chuck to use a Rhino turn 1, like empty a Rhino out of Repentia, keep them safe in whatever means you have possible. Load it up with Battle Sisters and chuck it on one of the bottom objectives, the bottom right hand objectives. Because what you want to do is you want to force your opponent to use something meaningful turn 1. Because what Colin got to do was to run up and hold 3 objectives with the units he didn't care about: 2 units of Intercessors and 1 unit of Incursors. None of those are things Colin actually gives any craps about. You want to make him use a major resource early by putting OBSEC and massed OBSEC on one of those objectives. Things that turn 1 and turn 2, 5 Intercessors can't kill. 5 Intercessors can't kill 10 Sisters and a Rhino. No chance, no how. So make him use Vanguard veterans early. Make him have to drop his plasma turn 2 instead of turn 3. Things of this nature. Make him use the smash chappie. He's trying to bleed you out. Make him try and do the same to him. So then at least you're forcing some kind of a trade situation.
Yeah. On top of that, every single one of Chuck's counterpunches, Colin could counterpunch with minimal resources. He sent the Repentia out there. Colin cleaned them up with a single Vanguard veterans squad and a couple bolters. He sent the Retributors out there. Colin cleaned them up with 2 Vanguard veterans. It was small bits and pieces. I felt like Chuck was hand feeding Colin bits and pieces of his army, hoping for a mistake and a big push, which never came.
Yeah. And a collapse, exactly. Like I like to call it a collapse. Like you start rolling up one side of the board and just start collapsing it in, which is things that Repenters and Retributors are absolutely fantastic at, to be honest.
Yes.
Like they're working in concert. One of them applies the pressure, the other one clears the way. It's actually fantastic because the multi-melters can clear the freaking anything that's in the way. It doesn't matter what you got. You can throw enough multi-melters this army that you're going to kill it. They put knights in the way. We don't care. Never heard of you. Dead.
It's like their final scoring here.
They're going to call it, this turn 5 doesn't matter all that much. I'm convinced Colin's going to be winning by somewhere in the region of 30 to 45 points. It's going to end up being a big swing, unfortunately. It's going to be max on primary.
Final score 79 to 35.
Ooh.
Yeah, about 40-ish points, like I thought. Yeah, good. Well played by Chuck. Well played by Colin. We'd love to hear, Pickles, if we can, we'll get a few minutes of hearing from the players. If you're willing to throw some questions from the chat at them or some questions from Pablo and I, we'd love to get, especially Chuck's thoughts on some things that he feels like he could have done differently. Obviously, not letting...
For sure.
Yeah, obviously he doesn't let a unit of Repentia get charged through that wall, and he doesn't move Judas so he loses 5 for while we stand. But let me know when they're finished, man. We'll load some questions up at them. In the chat, chuck up some questions and things you'd like us to ask this two gentlemen. Do it. After that roll, he freaking deserves to die.
Yeah, for sure. And then I'll open it up for questions and stuff.
Fabulous. Gunk has said yes. This game's been much tighter than the scores show. I'm not quite sure what you're referring to with the question. Was it 4 or 5 times? Out of
When you and
versus Adam.
JT played, Adam.
It was 5 times. Man, I thought it feels like more than that.
Yeah, the score was really close. It was probably hovering in the like 40 to 30 range going into the top of 4. But Colin just had 2 massive turns at the end there that just put him up by a lot.
Yeah. Exactly what I thought was going to. Yes, you're exactly right. Turn 3, his whole army activated. Turn 4, huge score. Turn 5, massive score. And yeah, that really just decided, didn't it? Like, because yeah, that 79 is 45 on primary, close to max data intercept, close to max oath, and I think somewhere in the region of 9 points for engage is by my tally. Because I think he's only got 1 turn where he's got 3, and it should be 2, 4, 6, 8. It could be 11. Sorry, 11 for engage. Is Khan gone? Is he gone?
Oh, he died.
God, dead man.
How did he die?
I would say it's a shame, but I don't know. He deserves it.
So let me get the story straight on Khan. So Khan, turn 1 did nothing, turn 2 did nothing, turn 3 moved up, tried to do something, but got his kill stolen. Turn 4 charged in with Bladeguard veterans. They killed everything. He did nothing again. Turn 5, he finally had his opportunity to kill something, rolled 6 1s, and then again whiffed, and then on the crackback died.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Legendary.
Right. So
legendary Khan-ness.
That is the best Blitzcars have to offer.
Especially of Chuck, what you think you could have done differently to make it a different result.
Hold on.
You go first, and then
I've got a question.
Sure. Okay. Never mind. Pablo has a question.
What?
So specifically for Chuck, specifically my question for Chuck is, do you think you held on to the Retributor or the Repentia in the Rhino too long? And also, do you think you played too conservatively turn 1?
We stayed. We fight was.
Do you think you?
Oh, it was a bad decision.
Chuck, do you think you kept your Retributors in the Rhino too long?
Repentia? Yes.
Okay.
Repentia, yes. Retributors.
Yeah.
Retributors did fine.
They had a great game.
My plan was to hold them back and keep Lanes of Fire going and everything. The While We Stand We Fight was an interesting call. It didn't work out. I don't think I needed to add that pressure on Colin. I think something else might have been better, but it's hard to pick a secondary that would have been. So I don't know if that's the case. I took 5 out of it, which I didn't count. So my score is actually 40.
Okay, 40, 79 to 40 then. Okay, and do you think you played too conservatively at the beginning?
Oh, no.
Turn 1, no.
No.
Turn 2, no. 3, absolutely, and 4, yes.
I agree. The Repentia should have come and slammed into me at some point on turn 3 or 4. Because you don't need them. They don't do. It's not like they got you points for surviving.
If I'd taken the Bladeguard out in the center there, you would have to use the Interceptors to keep that space, and then I would have held my space. I would have gotten a few more points. I wouldn't catch you. Your ability to turn your 10-man Vanguard vets into 5-man Vanguard vets wins you this match in a lot of ways.
Yep.
This 36 charge was
Also
the
huge.
game.
Yeah.
It took this objective, which gave me 5 more and a data thing. Then I left it, and it continued doing that. And they went and killed a 5-point they went and killed a 5-point Melta squad.
And if they hadn't done that, they're standing there, and both immolators come out.
Oh, I know. I knew that. That's why I re-rolled that charge. I knew that I had to.
Yeah. Well, I put you in that spot, right? I played well until that point, and then you found a way out of it. So it's a good game in my brain. You're supposed to be wearing a mask if you're out here. So,
Who
put it on the table. Get out of here, okay?
and go away. But I love you.
Yeah. Love your face. Keep it covered and get out of here.
Yeah. Luckily, kids are not as susceptible to getting it.
Yeah, but they're just as much for spreading.
He still shouldn't be out here.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got
do you
a
have any more
question for
questions?
the gentleman. How does Chuck feel about his army build?
I
Does
made
he feel
several
like
mistakes at the beginning that I was digging out from? This was awful.
Just
the
let
5
Colin-
Vanguard vets that went over here when I tried to get both of these things on the same turn. Basically, my math was if I kill 2 Repentia units with 2 Vanguard vet units, that's massive.
Yeah.
So what I did is I shot this one down, presuming that what was left wouldn't kill all the Vanguard vets. That also would have let me screen the Melta. If that goes off, the game is very different.
Yeah.
That was a really pivotal moment. But the biggest mistake I made was taking the stupid data tethers thing.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Well,
You get a lot of
with the
points.
Tyranids, it's great, but it was not good with the White Scars.
Well, Tyranids, you're mobbing the board. That's a whole different.
Well, this mission with Tyranids is crazy because you just run around holding all the objectives.
Yeah.
But we have a little bit of time if anybody has any other questions.
Adam had another question. It was, Chuck, how do you like your list? I think it was, right, Adam?
Yeah. I love the core of it. There's a whole bunch of small tweaks that I would love to make.
And you can? These are...
Can you ask him if he would like to add in more smashy characters?
Jumping Sisters nearly as much as I thought I would. And I also think I'd really benefit from a 10-man Arcoflagellant unit.
Oh yeah.
So I have a lot of
100%.
different little tweaks, but I don't like the smashy characters.
I don't value that canonist that everyone's so excited about.
I'll go 2 levels with it. One, they don't do the kind of damage that other things do. I never find myself in a need to clean something up behind my lines. This game was standing. It would have been great to have people who could easily go and kill 2 Vanguard vets, that kind of thing. I like my canonist who gives me an extra miracle die every turn and gives me the rerolls, because that's the part of the game I really enjoy there. I do think one more dedicated close combat unit is good.
Yeah.
I think that the reason
100% agree with
why a lot of lists don't work that are strong board control lists is that they don't have enough individual hammers. That was the feedback I gave Tyler after I played that massive obsec thing with the 3 giant bugs.
Yeah.
Is that basically that list is 3 giant bugs, 2 broodlords, some smite, and board control. And I said if you had slightly less board control and one more thing.
I just like a Hive Guard.
Well, Hive Guard are really bad for in his Hive Fleet. But I thought that same thing. It's just that he's Jormunger, so Jormunger or whatever you want to say.
How hard is it to get?
So he doesn't get so that everything's in cover because that means that those giant bugs are 1-up saves.
Yeah, but like a Ripper Swarm, one of the Broodlords, and like you could rearrange and lose some CP.
You could, yeah. And I don't know that he needs as many CP as he has. That's a good point. A little Chronos patrol for him would be amazing. Yeah. But I have a similar thought about when you're building lists like that Chaplain is good because early game his auras are great, and then he's a tool. And he can go clear stuff. He can go, you 5 guys are dead, and you 5 guys are dead. And I think one more thing like that in your list would be neat, but you have a lot of threat already.
That's part of the reason I'm asking about canists. There's twofold, right? If I get a canist who does punchy things, or one that's just like super durable, that's great. If I add the Celestians in, they're the veteran Battle Sister squads, they get rerolls off of her.
100%.
Oh, okay.
And then suddenly you have the space where like you have very powerful, like, that's a very good multi-melta to put in your list and stuff like that. I'm not personally there yet. That's going to take some depth of play and understanding here.
Yep.
But if you have 3 squads of Retributors and 3 squads of Repentia, you have a sisters list.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. But so, Pickles, if you can say the reason I was asking about the smash cannon is you wanted something small to go and clear off like 5 Intercessors and
you
not
have
use
too many
Repentia.
Melta Sisters in the units.
Fair enough.
Is some points.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff.
I'm either going to be putting in a combi flamer in the units or taking one of the multi-meltas down to a heavy flamer. If you think about like that spot in the corner there, those Vanguard vets come in, I'm like, oh, actually,
heavy flame.
here's a heavy flamer.
Yeah, the reason why the Vanguard vets are so good against them is that even if I have 2 left, those
pick
2
the whole
will
unit
pick up the unit.
I have a question, Pickles.
How would I change my list? I'm so glad you asked, Adam.
Go ahead, Pablo.
Another question for Chuck, probably.
Go ahead, Pablo.
But my question was actually it was for both players. So if Chuck makes those changes to his sisters list in the future, what's the matchup between these 2 army lists? Is it 50-50, 60-40 in one faction or in one list?
So Chuck makes changes to his list. It's for both of you guys. Is the matchup more 50-50, 60-40? What do you think?
I think the matchup is already great. I think I won because I have more reps with my army than he has with his.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like this matchup, Art of War has done it a bunch. Sisters are actually quite good against White Scars. In fact, when we did the projections episode, Nick and John struggled to decide who was going to win this game. They talked about it for a while.
They put it down to play experience and this mission being good for you.
Yeah, they gave it to me because of play experience in this mission. What's interesting is I think the mission matters a lot. I told Chuck in the middle of the game, this is one of the best games he's played into me in a little while. The last few turns didn't go well for him, but up until that, he had all of the momentum.
The commentators were very high on Chuck at the middle beginning of the game, like, oh man, he's making all these great plays, blah, blah, blah. And it just sort of
Well, top of 3,
Yeah.
I did a lot of damage to what Colin was going to do with himself.
Yeah.
And he used each of his Vanguard bets basically perfectly to dig his ass back out. And that's what changed the game. Right? If that charge
How
failed
big
or
was-
something had gone wrong, that could have all gone sideways.
So
But,
there's two
betting
people.
on Vanguard bets is a pretty good place to put a bet.
Pablo responded to me, or Pablo can't respond to me, but Pablo, when on your show 2 weeks ago, I think, we talked about the fact that you, there's a big difference between the players that decide that they've lost and the players that keep trying. I decided, there was a part of my brain that told me that I lost on turn 3, that, okay, this is done. And I was a little bit excited because I actually wanted to see Chuck go and wreck people. But like, you have to but then I was just like, okay, well, what do I do now? The Vanguard vet charge here, with 3d6 and I re-rolled, that was actually
That
the
was
game.
so good.
In
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
that
of
was so
ways.
good.
Those guys earned 10 victory points.
Let's say if that had failed,
Oh, yeah.
and I had made the right choice about coming over here and killing the Bladeguard, I feel at that point we're back in a place where
Yeah, then it's
points. There's a
50-50
few
probably.
points that are making.
Yeah, I agree.
JT does have a question. What secondaries would you have chosen?
I'm not sure.
I think that you could have easily data tethered. Because I didn't get to your deployment forever, and I no longer
This would
shooting.
just be a point.
You held more than that. Or, I guess you only got 5 a bunch of
Been like
turns.
1, 2, 3.
Well, all those 5s
five.
are holding 2
Well, that's
objectives.
8. It's better.
Right? I don't like what we stand we fight in this list because I don't think that because the Melta Sisters are already the thing I'm the most worried about. And so I am already trying to kill them. But like, if you hadn't taken it, I wouldn't have come over here at all. I would have just left them and held I would have left my Vanguard vets here, hiding in the terrain.
Yeah, you just got to fight. I put an opportunity for you to get 5 points on the table. You're playing White Scars. You have a lot of flexibility. I basically said, I'm going to not make any mistakes.
Right.
Now, if this matchup had been, before the FAQ, and my YML stand targets were a bunch of characters that were over in here, great. They would have just sat right here. And that would have been the end of it.
Right.
I guess it would have been these days.
Question for Colin.
So just
Pickles?
a few bookkeeping things. I'm going to give away some
Yeah,
stuff
sure.
here in about 15.
Adam has a question for you.
Oh, go ahead.
When and how long is it before he drops Khan now?
When and how
From
long
his list.
before you drop Colin from your list now?
Oh, no, there's no way. Adam missed earlier when Con was critical to barbed hierodules dying.
Oh, I know.
In
I
the
wanna
previous game, I killed all 3 barbed hierodules in the same turn.
Yuck.
Con.
That's freaking.
So
Second,
it was a mixture. One of them was away. Basically, I killed the Maliceptor that was giving them the minus strength buff, and then I plasmaed the guy that wasn't near the Malanthrope, and everybody else got charged. It was gross. No, Khan's amazing. He's such a super stud. He did some mortal wounds with his bird in the first game. That makes me happy.
I haven't been shot with his bird.
The problem is, I have to shoot to do it, and it's a pistol. So you have to be within 12 inches, and I can't advance if I'm going to do it.
ask Colin. Infiltrators ?
Infiltrators ? He
Yes, that's how my list changes.
Yeah.
I think 1 less Bladeguard, so that it
Yeah,
goes down to 4,
that's huge.
and then all of the troops become infiltrators. Is basically what the list needs.
Fucking hell
I
yeah.
also,
Hell yeah.
and this
Tell-
is going to take some
Pickles, you
prototyping,
tell him
I might
Adam says
remove
hell
4
yeah.
Plasma Inceptors and add more Vanguard vets. I might literally go down to just 5 Plasma Inceptors and add even more Vanguard vets. That might be
Yeah,
what I do.
it does feel like the
Yeah,
9
man.
plasma inceptors is
That'll be a thing I'll
overkill.
have to try. The Vanguard vets
It didn't-
in 5s, in 90% of the games that you play, are just redonkulously powerful. They're going 12 plus D6 and then charging. It's just crazy. Okay.
So I think we're just gonna wrap it up, but
Well,
I
I
think
need to
Colin
talk-
wants to give some stuff away first, and we should probably talk about why we're doing this.
Well, yeah.
That's you. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm going to do
I'll
that?
do this. Yeah, I'll do this.
Okay.
Nobody's going to sell it better than you are.
I don't have the energy to do the full thing right now.
Sure.
We
Just
are
a brief
raising money
one.
for charity. It is for cancer research and also the family of a longtime 40K gamer who has terrible, terrible cancer, massive financial hardship. We've raised probably, I would guess, close to $11,000 right now. I haven't checked while I was playing. We're giving away thousands of dollars of product, including a beautifully painted, commission-painted Necron army, and a giant thing of orcs. You can donate by going !donate in the Twitch chat or going to charityhammer.com. If you donate in the next 15 minutes, it's particularly good because I'm going to do drawings basically right before at the start of the next game. The next game on this table will be the other undefeated matchup, which is Peter playing his Imperium into Zach playing his Imperium, basically. Zach playing Mono Guard and Mr. Peter playing the Raven Guard and what has he got? Raven Guard and
Raven Guard, Death Corps.
Death Corps and Tank Commanders.
Oh, and Tank Commanders.
Yeah. Peter's really excited about that matchup. He's been thinking a lot about it. He and Zach are longtime sparring partners. So that'll be neat. And then on the other table is Harrison. And because Noah, did you just play? No, you're playing Harrison.
I just played Tyler.
And how'd that go?
I lost.
Okay, so Noah, so you're out.
Yeah.
Okay. So Noah just played Tyler. So Tyler is going to advance to the next round. I think play you, but I have to look at how the bracket works. And then the other matchup over there that's about to happen is Harrison and whoever else lost in the first round, which is someone. Who else lost in the first round? Paul. Harrison and Paul on the other table. In 3 hours, though, I'm going to play Tyranids into White Scars because I understand Tyranids better than I understand White Scars. That's a matchup everybody wants to see. It's my Dimacharon list, which I believe is very well designed to kill the Boogeyman. Killing the Boogeyman is a big conversation in competitive 40k right now, so that's a thing. I'm also going to be helping Zach try to beat me because Zach has less experience with White Scars than is necessary for that matchup.
It's going to be more of an exploration, right? Not a competitive game.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk the whole time. I'm going to absolutely try to help make sure that the Scars are playing well, but it's going to be a riot. It's going to be really fun. So with that, I think we'll go dark until the top of the hour, and I'll give some stuff away at that point. Thank you to the commentators in particular.
Yeah, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
See you then, guys. Thank you so much. You can join. I'll be commentating on next game with Danny McDevitt over on stream 2. So catch you there if you want to keep following me. Otherwise, get involved, donate some cash, and love these guys' work. Support them in any ways and means you feel able. Thank you so much, and I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah, also a real quick thank you guys for having me on. The Chapter Tactics and Frontline Gaming Network is going to donate 2 FLG mats on top of all the thousands and thousands of dollars of prize support to Charity Hammer. Hopefully Colin gives away one of those, so stay tuned for that. And win a cool FLG mat, 60 by 44 mat, and of course all proceeds are going to go to Vincent and his family and cancer research. Thank you all for listening and for watching this game with us, and let's go ahead and raise tons of money this weekend. We're going to be here all weekend. I'm going to be here all weekend. I might even hop in on another game.
Fabulous. Man, Pablo, thank you so much for doing this game with me. Absolute pleasure, my man. You did a freaking great job. Knocked it out of the park, dude.
Thanks, dudes. Have a good one.
Take care.